Maverick News, the antivirus program for your mind. And now, the Freedom Reporters.
Good evening, Maverick family. I'm Rick Walker. Welcome back to the Maverick News Channel. Good evening, new viewers. Great to have everyone here, wherever you're watching from. Big news day today, huge news day down in the Miami area where Donald Trump was arraigned on those charges related to his handling of top secret documents. Are the charges legitimate? I guess we'll have to see how the court handles the situation. But today on the streets of Miami, outside the courthouse, protests. And who was on the ground there? None other than Shay Eagle, who has been live streaming. She's been on this program a number of times before, and she's down there live streaming. We have some footage from her, and she will be joining us live from the scene very shortly, right here on Maverick News. Also tonight, what else do we have for you? Worst wildfire season of this century so far, according to Canadian government officials. And we've seen the smoke from the Canadian wildfires crossing the border, and the media latching onto that. We'll show you also tonight why the transition to electric vehicles is not going as smoothly for some people, some electric vehicle early adopters, as they thought it might. The shine is coming off some of those, it's coming off the EV industry in general a bit as people begin to deal with the realities of owning and living with an electric vehicle. Also, the United States is ready to send depleted uranium ammunition to Ukraine. We actually did talk about this at least a couple of weeks ago, just briefly. We had heard about that, and I know that over on Redacted, they have taken some exception to some of the mainstream media outlets reporting on this now, because they, I think, were among the first, if not the first. They may have actually been the media outlet to break this story going back a number of months ago, but we'll touch on it again tonight. And the leader of Belarus says he would not hesitate to use nuclear weapons if deemed necessary to push back NATO aggression. So the saber rattling continues, the escalation continues over in Ukraine, and it's worrisome to say the least. So fasten your seatbelts. We'll have more stuff right after this.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
So it has been a big media day, but I don't know that there has really been much substantive to come out of any of it other than an illustration of frustration manifesting itself through protests outside the courthouse where Donald Trump was arraigned because of his indictment and his handling of government documents that he took with him after he left the White House, which is customary, but they're now trying to say that he didn't handle them properly, and you kind of know the whole story. So today, the media is like covering, okay, he's gonna get in his SUV, and now they're driving in the SUV, and now they're on their way to the courthouse, and now he's driving into the courthouse, and now he's driving out of the courthouse, and the crowd is there, and people are protesting, and oh my God. And Trump has been charged with 37 counts, 31 counts of willful retention of national defense information, 1 count of conspiracy to obstruct justice, 1 count of withholding a document or record, 1 count of corruptly concealing a document or record, 1 count of concealing a document in a federal investigation, 1 count of a scheme to conceal, and 1 count of false statements and representations. Now, I can tell you that this has turned into a media circus today, and I can also tell you that, you know, he went in, he entered a plea of not guilty, and he's been released, as far as I know, with no conditions. And it really comes down to a struggle between 2 pieces of law, whether this really what will take precedent. The Espionage Act, where they're charging him, they're basically trying to treat him like a spy, essentially, or the Presidential Records Act, which came after and is what gives presidents the permission, authority to take documents with them after they leave the White House, and then they work with the National Archives, and then they set up presidential libraries. La 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 la. So they're his political opponents, and I think the weaponized justice system really trying to make hay with this. How far they will get, who knows? It could be serious, because at this point, the whole justice system seems like it's been just flipped over on its side, or maybe even right upside down. And while they say no one is above the law, it seems like the law applies differently to different people. Anyway, Shay Eagle, freedom reporter, there on the ground in Miami. We have footage from her. She'll be joining us very shortly, but this is what she recorded a short time ago as Trump was leaving the courthouse, just to give you a sense of what was going on there. Huge crowds, big protests, probably from what I was seeing, about 70% pro-Trump, 30% anti-Trump. Overwhelmingly, in favor of Trump, though, for the most part. Cheers, but some people, of course, protesting against him. And there were crowds of Antifa.
There he is.
There as well today.
Trump is leaving the courthouse. He's probably in the second Suburban. He was coming in. It's going to be in the second. Yeah, he'll be in the second one like he was coming in. First one's right here. He's in that one coming up right now on the ramp. Unless they changed him around, but I doubt it. There's only 2 went in.
You can't see through the glass?
I did see. No, he's not in there. He was in the second one too, and behind the passenger seat was where he was.
When he came in, he was in the third
he was
vehicle?
behind the passenger in the second vehicle.
Yeah, you're right.
He was in the second vehicle.
Right there.
Right. So he's not in the first vehicle here. He's in the second one. Yes,
Yeah,
right.
there.
That's right.
They're not putting him on the street.
People ask me the same thing. I'm like, no, but yes, he's in the second one.
Yeah.
You can hear the crowd chanting in the background.
All right, guys, he's leaving.
He's leaving. There he is, right there, you guys. He's coming out now. They're going to pull right out. There he's waved. I got to wave. There he's waving. Yeah, buddy. We got it. We got it. He's waving. We got the wave, you guys. We got the wave. Right on. I want to squeeze by your tripod, but I want to hit you, buddy. Oh, for fuck's sake. Okay, I'm squeezing by here. Just so you know.
Yep.
Fucking fake news holding up everything here. Excuse me, buddy. No, there you go. So we got the wave. We saw Trump, you guys. If you watched that second Suburban, we got the wave. There he goes.
That's funny.
Brian's probably trying to freaking chase me down here. I just bolted on him.
Oh my.
But you know me. We got the wave. That is awesome,
Okay,
you guys.
so Shay is going to
Check
join
the
us
second
here
Suburban
now.
coming out.
I'm just
You
gonna
will
pull
see
this
Donald
footage
Trump
down.
waving.
I'm just going to pull the audio down, and let's bring Shay in live now.
Hey,
There you are. Hello.
I can't see you, but I'm here.
Brian's waving.
Oops.
I'm waving.
Oh,
over
hello
to the
back.
right.
Hello, Brian.
Yeah. Hold up. Here
So
I
I
am,
just, hi, how are you?
good. Just driving back from Miami.
Excellent. Well, you did some good work down there today. You got some great footage.
Oh yeah.
What was the mood like down there? It seemed pretty exciting, and so a little bit of clash going on at times too.
There was a little clash, but I'm telling you, it was it's kind of positive. I think you know, people are positive, still there, just waiting to find the truth. Everybody wants to find the truth.
Right. Yeah, and we were just rolling that clip
I
where he
saw
comes
that.
out. Yeah, and you're like, "Get out of the way, fake news." I'm like, that was hilarious.
I love it.
You know what? I was trying to be nice and polite, and it was
MSNB.
And
MS-
yeah,
MSNBC.
Yeah.
the fake news, right?
Right.
And you know, we're all standing there. We were there, well, as you saw the earlier lives. We knew already. I mean, Brian and I got there last night. You know, me and him, we scout things out. We talked to people, found out a lot of information, and we knew underground for sure. But so we already knew that, but yet we still mingled. And I'll tell you, when we first walked in there at 7 o'clock this morning, I don't know how many interviews this guy has done just because of the Trump shirt and then the hat and kind of our view and Brian's view and, you know, why we were there. But yeah, and then they, you know, the media, they just come up and they just try to bulldoze you over and move you out of the way. And I thought, I came all the way here. You are not. Your tripod and your big cameras, I really don't care.
Yeah.
I was like, she'll break your camera. I know she will. On purpose or not.
That was hilarious. That was pretty good. I liked that. Yeah, good for you. Stand your ground. What was going on here afterward? This big crowd. Was that a Antifa group or what was it?
So Antifa always, but again, we missed. And when you first saw me bolt off without Brian when I came back, because that's where I was headed. But Brian and I don't do that. You have to do that for safety reasons. And he's my pit bull and he's my, you know what I mean? So I did take off directly for that, but I had to turn around and come back to get him. Somebody tried to block the motorcade is what we ended up finding out.
And they tried to break through.
So yeah, and then Antifa tried to come through because the shouting started and all of that. And I'm telling you, those boys in blue, man, hats off to them, respectful. And they pushed Antifa right back. They had that line solid and no one was going through there. So I didn't catch quite all of it because I needed to go make sure I had Brian in tow before, I ended up getting myself into something over there.
So I'll send you a video later. There's this one guy when Trump was coming back out, or no, when he was going in. Sorry, when Trump was going in, this guy went out. He had a jail suit on. He was like, Trump should be in jail sign or whatever. He started walking across the road in the middle of the road, and he's like 30 feet from Trump's motorcade.
It's probably all over the news.
And the police hasn't seen him yet. And I'm thinking, should I go out and tackle this guy or what? And then all of a sudden they saw it and they came out and just pushed him back. But I was like, that was a perfect opportunity. They could have just smeared that guy into the concrete.
But anyway, it's probably, Brian's got the video. We tried to upload it right away, but it wouldn't go. But anyway, I'm sure it's going to be all over the news. And we did get word after that too that somebody roughed this guy up. And yeah, Brian, relax. You saw an alligator.
The big
Like,
croc.
"Look,
We're going down. We're
there's
actually
an alligator." Just
we're going down Crocodile Alley. That's why.
no, that's why. So he's like, "Oh my God, look!" So it turned. Somebody did tell us that, I don't know, somebody might have roughed him up, but you know, when he did what he did, he was like Brian said, 30 feet from Trump's Suburban, just jumped right out there, and the cops didn't see him at first, and then they ran for him. But he's really lucky that he didn't get his ass handed to him. And you know, if you're looking on the media and you see he's the one that's in the jail suit, and he was there quite early this morning and just being loud and being obnoxious. And but a lot of media, you know, want to know why we were there and what our position is. But really telling Shay, you know, you really need to look at the indictment. You really need to read about all of these charges and what, you know, that's about. But, you know, we're truth seekers, and, you know, you have to prove it. You have to
That's
prove
right.
it.
Yeah.
You have to prove this. Anybody can say anything, but if he did do, you know, what we've been hearing and they can prove it, then that's some highly classified information that could really put, you know, our military at risk, or has put the military at risk.
I'm not so sure. We read the entire indictment right here on the show.
Okay.
As soon as it was released, I spent better part of over an hour reading it, all 45 pages, 43
That's
or
it. It's
something.
45 pages.
Yeah. A fitting number given, you know, that he was number 45.
Yeah, that's right.
Right?
But when I read that, you know, it's a lot of it kind of washed over me. I wasn't sure exactly what to make of it, but then Rudy Giuliani kind of hit the nail on the head, because there was like this one section where there were some redactions in names making reference to they don't mention him by name, but it was General Milley.
Right.
Okay.
And he was Trump was talking to a reporter about this incident with Milley, where Milley was saying that if this secret plan to attack China was going to happen, he was going to call China and warn them. But all of that had actually been reported in the media anyway. You can go online, it goes back to 2021, and you can find all the stories about it. So I mean, if it's so top secret, why is it in the mainstream media all over the internet even now?
And see, you know, and that is the whole thing. And our thing is, you'll hear it because we've been interviewed lots, and I've said it myself, especially Brian is a huge Trump supporter, that no one is above the law. And that's, you know, when we tried to hold Trudeau responsible. So if Trump is guilty, which I don't believe he is, people can say what they want to say, but until you can prove that. But if it is proven, you know, we talked to that sergeant today who was in the military, and he said, you know, I will always be a Trump supporter, but that doesn't mean I think he's going to be a good president. So that's the whole thing, is these classified documents that they've been talking about. But one of the journalists I talked to, some people wouldn't give their names. They all, you know, and I, you know, we all talked, and some are doing it for their own reasons. They're, however, who they belong to, I don't know. But there were more than 31. He was only charged with 31, but there was way more there. So why they only chose 31 out of 50 or 50 some, we don't know. And a lot of it too is, it wasn't the fact so much, they said the big deal is not that they were declassified and taken home, but when the DOJ asked him to return them, which again was a joke, didn't give him much time, we all know that, that's when it gave them. So there's a lot of different things you hear, and you know why we're there is to collect and hear things and put this out there, but you have to prove it. People can say what they want to say, but if he is guilty,
it will come down ultimately to the way the courts interpret the law, and the two pieces of legislation that deal with one, the Espionage Act, and two, the Presidential Records Act, and which one has greater weight. And this is going to be a very difficult case for them to prosecute, because he was the president. And even if he doesn't have the documents, he still has all that stuff stored up inside his head because
Right.
he probably read all of that stuff. So he took it with him in his brain.
And I asked these because these people, these media were the very first in the row, and they know they were very high up in whatever they do, whoever they belong to. But I just said, okay, so here's my question to you. I said, do you think this is a tactic? I think it's a great thing. If you guys are going to call it a tactic of, the judge or him not having a lawyer or, and then she goes, that's ridiculous about a public defender. And so then we got into that conversation. I said, well, no, because really he's got the money, he's got the power, he's got the people and can hold this off till he is a nominee. He's running for president, makes president, and then this is all null and void.
Right. If he's elected, he can just pardon himself.
Right.
That's exactly it. So Trump has the money, the measures to hold this out long enough to where if he's not in jail, people are still going to vote for him. Right. But, Trump's smart enough and Trump's got the tactics.
We also
you know what I'm saying.
We also listened to a guy today that's actually he's gonna be running for president. He hasn't put his name out there yet, but he put a bill in today to him. They have 20 days to answer him, and he's trying to get every one of the Republican nominees to sign this bill that they will pardon Trump if they become president.
Yeah, but anyway, this guy was a nut because I don't think anybody knew him. But again, when you're following the footage, you'll see what he's talking about. But I don't know. There was a lot to be learned, a lot to see. But some of you mainstream media people, they're all parked and pitched and tented right in front of the courthouse. So everybody was missing the back, and we already knew that that's where he was going in. So that's why we were questioning and kept circling. I said, he's coming in there. I know he is. And I said, those people are parked in the back there for a reason. Somebody gave them the info, gave them the lowdown on exactly the underground. And I said, we need to pay attention to them. So that's where Brian and I went, and we were right. And then people started getting it after they were all done taking their pictures and thinking Trump was just going to walk through all of that in front of the courthouse. Are you crazy? Like, really think about it.
No.
That's a security nightmare.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So
how big was the crowd? Yesterday, the media was saying there could have been as many as 5,000 to 50,000 people there today. So what was your assessment of that?
Maybe 5 all day long.
Maybe over 5,000.
Yeah, over 5
people and media and all that.
Yeah, but it wasn't 50. Nowhere close.
So I'm gonna I don't know how big the front of the courthouse got because, like I said, everybody was expecting Trump to come in there. So where all the tents were and all the media were, these guys all thought they were there and they were gonna get the shot in that, right? But that wasn't where the action was going on. So a lot happened after we left. Did that live around 11 or 12. And then hung one in the back. So I really don't know after we went back there how many people came after that. I mean, but I'd say 5,000 to 10,000 for sure before we went in and camped out in the back there waiting for him to come around. I don't know how big it got. I heard it.
I'll have to have Shay send you a picture too. There's a guy there dressed American flag, and he was holding a stick. And he had a pig head on top of it. Well, everybody thought it was a fake pig head. It was a real pig's head.
So, and you'll see that.
It's dripping like shit off.
I asked Brian, I'm like, is that real? Yeah, and I'm like, ew, that's gross.
Real pig head on a stick out there.
So it's like,
wow, that's pretty extreme, sort of.
Yeah, it was a little extreme.
So, but you know what? To see Trump in that Suburban, and he was in the second one going in, and I know in my life, I said, no, he's in the first one because somebody was asking me, well, which one is he? And I'm like, he's in the first one now. No, because he already went. So she was confusing me of talking to my viewers. But he was always in that second Suburban. So I did see him going in. I'm really going to have to stop that footage and see if I can get in or somebody else can. But definitely, and that's where I knew he was in. He was behind the passenger and going out too. And then he got the quick wave, and then he sat forward and gave a bigger, and that was the most exciting, is that We've been there all day, and
He acknowledged us there. Yeah.
he acknowledged the people that were there. And, you know, because usually Trump is always going to wave or say thank you, but we know for number one, his lawyers and his security. I mean, they had to keep him safe, but to just see him was very, very exciting.
Wow. Yeah. Well, it's certainly a day you'll never forget. Do you think this stuff is going to help him or hurt him? Because my assessment is this can only help him.
Yeah, unless they would be able to convict him, if they would be able to find him guilty of what done, obviously.
Right.
Yes.
But yeah, but all this is just ramping people up and just making people stronger fans of him. You know,
They're just making him pay the price because of who he is, because he's like, everybody makes mistakes, Rick, but I mean, the man is powerful. He cannot be bought. He has a ton of money. He has done amazing things for this country, and I'm Canadian, even though I'm going to marry Brian and become one, but and you know, people like what he's doing here of Biden opening up and letting all the immigrants, you're letting in the cartel, you're letting in drug dealers, you're letting in some of the most dangerous people that are going to hurt our children, hurting the women, are going to do really bad things. And I know that Trump would stop that. So, you know, I don't know. I'm getting more and learning more, right? Being and you know, Brian being an American, but if Trump did wrong, then there's consequences for everything that we do that is wrong, especially in his position. But you have to prove that now.
right.
You have to prove that. Anybody can say anything, but they need to prove that.
Yeah. And what was the mainstream media like there? A lot of guys camped out, tons of cameras. It was like a media circus.
Oh yeah, and then when we walked in this morning,
Hundreds.
first thing about 7 or 7:30, you know, like I said right away. So we had people, media jumping out, and I'm like, I don't want to talk to them because I might say, you know,
I'm like,
I'd rather be behind it. Brian's like, I will, and I'm like,
I want to talk to everybody.
so Brian must have did 5, and of course I'm there, and they all caught me, and you know, we introduced ourselves, whatever. I was live streaming as they were filming him, so it's like I've got the news station, and I've got Brian as they're doing the interview, and so it's really cool to actually.
And I finally found.
There's no lies they can tell about Brian or I, because I was live streaming and right there at that same time. So if you lie about anything that we said, I got it on my live, and I got you.
Right. I was so happy to find a national NBC to interview me. That was awesome.
Yeah,
so
you guys did quite a number of interviews with media from around the world, right?
Yeah, around the world, and they were.
Austria, yeah.
And I just said to Brian, you know what, like, we came here on a mission, and that's, you know what I mean, is not to give a million interviews. Like, okay, so here's another thing, since you guys are watching, because it's going to come up and media's going to spin it. Okay, it's on my live too, so it's proof. So we're doing it live. This guy drives up and goes, "Are you a Trump supporters?" And Brian's like, "Yeah, hell yeah." And this guy says, "Okay, if I pay you $100, would you hang this sign?" He goes, "I can't. I have bad knees, but I need it hung." And of course, Brian, I'm thinking, well, what's the sign, first of all? And Brian's
I'm like, it's $100, man.
Brian shoots off, goes, "Yeah, we'll take it." I'm like, oh my God. I'm thinking, well, what is the sign, first of all? Oh shit, where is this sign going? But no, he already commits, and I'm on a live, and then I get busy, and then poof, he's gone. Okay, so it's, yeah. So anyways, all the reporters got a picture of him hanging this TV that says, now be careful what you're saying because you're on Rick's show. So
Yeah, just say F.
it just says F what?
Communist media that's getting paid.
Yes, communist media that's getting paid.
And it's one of those big flat screen TV.
Yeah.
It's on a big flat screen TV, and we hung it on a pole at the federal courthouse.
So journalists were coming to even find him because they go, well, there he is. And then they snapped a picture. And I said, who, him? They go, yeah, why do you know? I'm like, yeah. They said, yeah, we just need to come get a picture. And I'm like, oh my God.
So they all laughed, but then I turned to them. I said, look, that's not me. I said, this guy paid me $100 to help him. They're like, well, shoot, we just helped him for $100.
So, you know, mainstream, especially if they're the bad ones, they're going to be like, so look at this hooligan, you know,
Right.
hanging this sign and being all badass and stuff. But yet we thought we were doing this guy a favor with sore knees. I'm just putting up a sign. I'm like, wow, Brian, you really got yourself deep with that one. Now, how do we backpedal out of that?
Oh my. I think they are sort of playing with fire here, though, because if they convict, I mean, it's bad enough they indicted him, and now you're getting all this polarization, within
Yes.
the population. If they convict him and throw him in jail,
Oh,
what do you think will happen with the
He'll even
public?
run. He'll even run. I mean, we've heard that he'll even run from jail. But again, when you got someone that's definitely not going to help Trump. But again, they need to start spitting out some of what they have. But I mean, that's not even till the trial, I think, right? Which doesn't even start till March. But I mean, all you have to do is hold it up for long enough till he's the nominee and he's already, you know what I mean?
But yeah, I think if it all would happen, he would get convicted before he becomes president and all that stuff.
I don't think that'll happen.
Yeah, I can see a riot. I really can, because people are mad about the way they did this.
Yeah,
They definitely did this the wrong way, and
So
it's all political right now.
So I don't think it would be good. If he was convicted. But he was released on no conditions today.
Right.
We learned that as soon as he kind of got out, because they did change the judge this morning. So I think because we were watching the news, because we were wondering if they were going to do that, and then it came down Judge Goodman now, but they did change judges early this morning. But
yeah. Do you have any opinion on that? That's a difficult thing to deal with, because all these federal judges, as I understand it, are appointed by a president, which means you're always, regardless of what judge you put in, it's either going to be appointed by a Democrat or a Republican.
Right.
So
by
there's
Biden or by Trump. Right.
Yeah.
So, and anyone that they pick that is, had dealings with Trump in the past and found him not guilty or whatever, they're going to boot off. But everyone that Biden puts in, they're thinking that he's going to get a fair judge. And they said, so they did it in Miami because they thought that Trump would get a better jury here. That's why they did it, even though the documents were found
happened in DC, and the documents were
happened in DC, but the documents were at his house. They thought that he would get a fairer trial here. So that's why they did it.
Mhm.
Why they did it here.
I still think it's hard to get a clear jury. I mean,
So I don't know, changing the judge in that, and like you said, it's a Biden judge now.
it's gonna be hard to prove.
I don't know how this is gonna go down.
Without a doubt, it's gonna be hard to prove. There's always gonna be that doubt there.
People say there's damning evidence, and like you said, I didn't have time to read the indictment because I didn't know it was that important to really read it. I should have, but they say there's some pretty damning evidence, so I don't know. You can say what they want, but
Yeah, it comes down to how it's interpreted, and how the judge decides to apply the law, and then if there's a jury, how the jury decides to assess all of that. So this is very unpredictable, I think.
it is. It's very unpredictable, and we don't know what they have, and
I think the other reason it's unpredictable is because this is all really new ground. This has never happened before. We've never had a president in this position before.
Right.
So whatever happens here actually sets precedent.
Right.
It does, and that's the whole thing.
And if they're going to do this to him, then we have somebody right behind him, like a Biden and his son, and Clintons, and all them. They now be tried also.
Yep.
They're in that boat that they're doing right here to Trump. The same thing.
Yep. That's why this is such a terrible thing to do, because if they do it to him, the Republicans will turn around and do it to the Democrats too. You can pretty much guarantee it.
It'll be an all-going fight. It will be.
It just goes to show you how this world is just gone to shit. That this can even be possible. That this happens. That I don't know, Rick. We're very drained from this today.
Yeah.
It's very when you're out doing these things, and the people that you talk to and the information you have to pull in and hold there and take in.
My head's on a swivel all the time.
And then that's it, your head always being on a swivel, for the other past events that have happened. And so,
Yeah, because I got to keep track of that Shay when she runs around. She just takes off, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm old. I can't follow you.
Yeah, well, I think the mainstream media guys you should maybe get some bodyguards to protect themselves from her while she brushes past their tripods.
She's throwing shoulders and
asked him-
elbows.
I asked him nicely because, we were all standing there together and we were all talking while we were waiting for Trump. And, then he pulled that attitude, put his foot down off the curb and that hip thing, like, no, nobody's getting by. And it's like, excuse me, I don't think so. I've been here all day. You just rolled in like an hour ago. So I asked you nicely. And I just said, okay, by the way, I'm going around your tripod. He went around it and I thought, man, I hope you're holding on to that camera.
Well, see, he learned a lesson. You do not mess with a Canadian girl who loves hockey because she'll body check you right back up onto the sidewalk.
That's right. Nobody had informed him of who she was yet. He wasn't a convoy watcher.
I don't know. No, he's probably the one that made lines up about us, Rick, those bad convoy people. He's probably the one that spread that shit around, making us all look crazy.
We did find some reporters that knew a little bit about the convoys. That was
know
nice.
About us fringe minority people,
Right.
So and not bad. They didn't have bad things to say about it.
Right.
So that was good.
Yeah. Well, you've been doing a lot of live streaming and not just from there, but where else have you been? You were up in East Palestine for a while where the train derailment happened. And what else? Tell me all the stuff you've been doing since then.
So we went up to East Palestine and we did a rally actually. And I kind of went to look for some of these kids that were sick, that we were hearing about. And, I met some really brave people there and a really brave mom, Candace, and I did an interview with her too while we were in Naples and how sick her family is and how sick her kids are. And then Brian and I just kind of traveled around Florida doing a holiday. And then we came down to Fort Myers and Sanibel Beach. And when we saw the damage, well, you know me, I was just like, wow, it looked like a bomb went off. So I was like, I want to come and help people rebuild here. And then I got to talking to people. Jeff Wiggle from the Sanibel Deli. I went and interviewed the firemen from the fire department, Station 171. Asked them, what's it like when you get evacuated? What's your guys' job? What was it like when you guys came back? And their stories, not even knowing there was no signs. Even GPS was taking them to the wrong place. The wildlife had started overtaking Sanibel. And, these men were in tears. These are grown heroes, and I just felt, I said to Brian, we can't leave. We somehow got to help these people. So that's what we're doing. We found a lady now who, because we're getting married, but we do have a company. I can't make money or anything here yet, but Brian takes care of me and I just basically go and I help and this house is almost done. So it's going to be really rewarding. So this lady's going to be back in her home by the end of June. But when she comes back in July, she'll be able to live there. And people were telling her they would be able to get her back in there in September. So we started with the insulation and now we're everything's done, the drywall, painting. So that's kind of what we're doing. We started a business, Patriots from the Heart. And that's what we're doing. So
that's pretty cool. So all the live streaming you're doing, where can people find it? Is it mainly on Facebook or other platforms?
Oh, yeah. And then we've been pretty quiet the last, because we've been working on getting this place ready for our friend to come back to. So, but then we felt that we really needed to be here. So we didn't go to work today. We played hooky and
Boss is going to be mad.
Which, we took off to Miami to check this out. So I'm glad we did.
Yeah. Well, really quite a day all the way around. Very exciting.
It's a day in history. It's
history. Yeah. Again, another history making moment. And it's about putting the truth out there. Right. And good, bad, hard to hear, hard to say. But it's about putting the truth out there and finding what's really going on. And
if he ever goes to court, we'll be there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going
And
to try to really dig in and
well, it looks like
Go
he's going to court. It looks like he's going to court. I don't know. I can't see it at this point being dismissed. They've gone this far.
No, it might have to be delayed.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Nowhere.
And what
Yeah,
are
I
your
don't know.
predictions here?
It's,
What he's so far out in front. Does anybody actually have a chance of taking the nomination away from him?
Not unless he's actually convicted. If he's not convicted, no, they'll never touch him. He will be the president, and I'm not even sure he wouldn't be if something happened.
Pence coming out the other day and saying what he did really shocked me at first. Like, I was like, wow. Now that Pence has actually gone out and said something, I was like, yeah, that was another slap in Trump's face.
But
So
he's way
I think
above
we were
everybody.
pretty shocked about that too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
Rick. I really don't know on this one. The fact that he was even indicted and fingerprinted today, because we watched him go up on the first floor, which the lower floor is where they were, taking his mugshot and fingerprinting him, and then he went up to the 16th floor. So
He's running against Biden, and as bad as the world is, I can't see people re-electing Biden after how bad the world is right now. Even his own supporters
Biden's
are mad at him.
ruined this country. So
Yes. Yeah, it is a mess. He took us straight into war. The economy is suffering. The border is wide open.
Wide open,
He's
and
corrupt as hell.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He
I
should be
think-
the next one try.
I think the border opening is the biggest concern to a whole lot of people, and very, very scary. There's already a huge homeless population. We already know that in Canada, we've seen it, but here in the United States, and why would you bring over more immigrants and put them in shelters? And now the mayor of New York said that they were going to be lifting. You had to be in a shelter for 90 days before you get a voucher for housing. It's like there are so many homeless people. Why would you bring more immigrants in to make them homeless?
Mm-hmm.
To me, it's like, so very concerning. And that affects us. That affects our children. That affects everything. And, a lot of bad people are going to come in. And that's
Yeah, the signal is breaking up there a little bit. So let me just, as we should probably start to wrap this up because the signal is degrading. If you can still hear me, do you have any final thoughts tonight, guys? And the signal is frozen. It may come back in just a moment. We'll just give it a second to see if they can reestablish the connection as they're driving down the road. And tonight on Truth Social, Trump, just a simple post, but powerful. And let me see if I've got it up here. I had it. Let me just see if. Well, let me bring it back up. We had a little bit of trouble with our computers here as we were about to go to air. So some of these clips and posts that I had lined up are kind of missing here. Yeah, we lost Shay's signal, but that was Shay Eagle on the ground down there today in Miami, bringing us truth and practicing real journalism, actually. That is what that is. That is, recording as I've said before, history on the run, which is a reference and a nod to old school journalist Knowlton Nash. And here's Truth Social Jack Posobiec showing Trump being fingerprinted. And I'll show you what Trump had to say tonight. Pretty simple. He said, thank you, Miami. Such a warm welcome on such a sad day for our country. And then just 36 minutes ago, he posted this. Come on, computer, bring it up for us. Here we go. Loading, 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 still loading. We have a storm going through here tonight too, so I think it's affecting things. Fake Tapper just demanded that his broadcast be closed down from Miami because there was far too much enthusiasm on the streets for Trump. The good news is he was the only one to do so. Perhaps a good explanation as to why CNN's ratings are so low. Yes, lots of interest. And I was listening to WJR radio this afternoon for a few minutes, and Trump derangement syndrome is still alive and well. One of the callers calling in as they were talking about this subject criticized the host of the program simply because he mentioned Trump's name and called for the station license to be revoked. Yeah, that was a little extreme. Hey, you're back. You're back.
Lost you. We're driving through the Everglades, actually, on our way back to Fort Myers. So, of course, we hit a patch. Sorry about the hand.
Oh, that's okay. That's all right.
Yeah. So
that's okay. Well, you know, we've covered, I think, most of the ground. Is there anything you guys... Oh, we lost the signal again. Where'd you go? There you are. Any final thoughts to kind of wrap things up tonight?
Just going to have to watch and see what happens and play out, and I'm going to try to stay on top of this, and I think we all should be paying attention, I guess, to what people think, but let's go by evidence, let's go by proof, not just assuming he's guilty. I mean, if he is guilty, then if he did leak documents that he shouldn't have and put, our troops in danger, then that's not okay either. But we need to see the proof before. But people need to stay peaceful and no riots. And I was really happy with today when we left. But I didn't see a lot of what went up on the front after we went into the back around 10 o'clock or so. But
I think we need to make sure we keep this non-political. I mean, I know this whole thing is political. The reason it happened and the reason it is happening is political, but I think people need to keep their political minds out of it and just keep it, and let's go with the evidence and find out what the truth is and go from there.
Seems to me, again, like this is something of a trap where, the Trump's opponents, the neoliberal Democrat wokes, it's like they're hoping that people lose their minds and go get violent, so they can start throwing more people in jail with the J6ers.
See, and that's it, right? So, that's the whole thing, is keep this peaceful and don't do anything to hurt this country, or let's just pay attention and watch the evidence, people, and let's not. But I was happy with today as far as there was nothing to worry about, except that jailbird guy. I'm not sure if somebody roughed him up. I'm not sure what happened there. I wasn't there either, but
sometimes you get what you deserve.
Yeah. So anyway, it was a good day. It was a good day, and thanks for having us on. And
oh yeah, my privilege. And guys, check out Shay's videos on her Facebook page. Just look for Shay Eagle on Facebook, and she has a lot of valuable, productive stuff to look at. I mean, what you're doing down there is journalism. That's what you're doing. It's
truth, buddy.
Yeah, truth. That's exactly right. Thank you, guys. Really appreciate you taking the time. Rick. Good work today. All right, take care.
Okay, bye.
All right,
bye.
See ya. Bye. Shay and Brian down there in Florida, on the scene, recording history on the run. We'll be right back. Don't go away. More to come.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching. Maverick News. The world is watching.
So, things continue to escalate over in Ukraine in the conflict with Russia. And tonight, we're seeing the leader of Belarus say that he would use nuclear weapons. Here it is right here. This is the NBC version of this. Headline, leader of Belarus says he wouldn't hesitate to use Russian nuclear weapons to repel aggression, says. Moscow's deployment of short-range nuclear weapons to its neighbor and ally was widely seen as a warning to the West. It stepped up military support for Ukraine. Well, just the fact that we're even talking about this shows you how dangerous this whole situation is. So just to give you a couple of the paragraphs from this is actually an Associated Press article, which, because it's a news wire service, has been picked up by mainstream media pretty much universally. Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko saying today that he would not hesitate to order the use of Russian tactical nuclear weapons that are set to be deployed to Belarus if his country faces an aggression. And we are seeing Ukrainian forces deploy weapons, drones, shells, actually into Russian territory now. Earlier this year, Russian President Vladimir Putin announced the planned deployment of short-range nuclear weapons to Moscow's neighbor and ally, Belarus, in a move widely seen as a warning to the West as it stepped up military support for Ukraine. And Putin has emphasized, it says here, that Russia will retain control of them, but Lukashenko's statement contradicted that. So here's a quote, says, God forbid I have to make a decision to use those weapons today, but there would be no hesitation if we face an aggression. Lukashenko, known for his blustery statements, said, according to the state news agency. No response from Russian officials with regard to this, but hey, even Putin has said, hey, I'm not bluffing, and has indicated that he would use them too if push comes to shove. And that's sort of been the problem from the very beginning. NATO has been push right up to the Russian border in Ukraine, right where Ukraine, put that line in the sand. They said, no NATO forces here, no NATO membership here. unacceptable, too close to home, too much history there. We've seen invasions of Russia come right through Ukraine in the past. Not acceptable. NATO ignored those words and ignored the agreement, the promise that had been made after the fall of the Berlin Wall. Just completely ignored it and continued to push. And then when Russia shoved back, initiated their special military operation, the West said, see, Russia's the aggressor. That's the way it's really gone down. I think that is a more accurate assessment than Russia just wants to take over more and more countries and dominate Europe. That's not quite the case. And we're seeing more escalation on the U.S. side again, because the Wall Street Journal reporting, and this story being picked up by other mainstream media now, the U.S. is sending depleted uranium ammo to Ukraine capable of piercing Russian tank armor. Says here, this is Insider. The U.S. is set to approve depleted uranium tank shells for Ukraine, and they're crediting the Wall Street Journal with the report. Although I can tell you that I did hear Redacted talk about this first. And that goes back about 3, maybe 4 months ago. And we acknowledged it shortly after that here on this program as well. But it was Redacted that brought the information forward, as far as I know, first. And that's not surprising because, of course, you're not really getting real news to the degree that we used to from mainstream media. Now it's more independent news sources that are breaking the truly important stories like this. And this is an important story because why? Well, depleted uranium used in shells spreads radioactive material across the land, across the area where the munitions are used. And we've seen in places like Iraq, where depleted uranium shells have been used, that the environmental contamination results in all kinds of illness, cancers for the people who live in those areas long after the wars are over, long after the battles have been fought. And so here we are looking at NATO sending depleted uranium shells to Ukraine for use against Russian forces, but on Ukrainian soil, where the use of these weapons will result in contamination and, no doubt, disease and even lingering death for generations, birth defects, all of the negative health impacts that come from exposure to excessive radiation contamination will come with this. It's so maddening because here in the West, we see people who would traditionally have been environmentalists, people, I think, who are more progressive in their political views, supporting Biden, Trudeau, NATO, the West in their expansionary war in Ukraine, and supporting actions like this just simply by supporting the war. And then we've seen within the past week, Canada going over there in a surprise visit to drop off another $500 million in money and weapons for Zelensky and the Ukrainian forces. But I think public attitudes, public sentiment is changing. I think support for the war is eroding. I think people are beginning to tire of it here in the West. And in order for this war to continue, they need public support in the West. They need the public to support this. If the public stops supporting it, it will be very difficult for them to continue. with all of this. That's why the propaganda is so thick, that you think that we don't have power, that we don't have any sway over what these politicians and the military industrial complex does, what they do with our funds, with our money. We absolutely do, unless they control our minds. And that is what they do with the propaganda. Well, keep your head screwed on straight, think critically, be careful about the information that you're consuming. Try to look at everything objectively and question, ask lots of questions, assess, and then determine for yourself where you stand on these issues. Me, personally, I would like to see the war end. That's my position on it. I don't think it ever had to happen. And I think that this is an environmental disaster unfolding before our very eyes, and we are funding it. See, the depleted uranium shells are used to penetrate the armor on tanks. When they're shot at high velocity, they heat up and can actually soften the metal, allowing the shell to pierce the armor, unlike a conventional munition. That's why they use the depleted uranium. When it impacts against the armor, the impact itself, the kinetic energy from that, ignites or releases energy that creates intense heat and allows the shell to penetrate. But at the same time, it releases radioactive material into the environment, and it lingers for, I don't know how long, but years and many, many years. And when people are exposed to it, they can ingest it, they can breathe it in. You get it on your skin, your clothes, it can get into food. It's radioactive fallout, essentially, that contaminates the soil, the vegetation, the air, the environment. It's radioactive, so you're exposed to it, and it's a carcinogen. And it says here in this report that there were doubts over providing the shells for environmental and health reasons. For several months, the Biden administration has been debating whether to provide the shells to Ukraine following concerns over their possible health impacts. But an administration official said that there were now no major obstacles to providing the ammunition. Insider, it says here, has contacted the White House for comment. They're, trying to follow up on and run on the coattails of the Wall Street Journal and really redacted. And we've been following this stuff too. I remember talking about this. I think it was at least probably 3 months ago that we were talking about it here. It says depleted uranium, a byproduct of the nuclear enrichment process, is used because it is extremely dense. When used in tank shells, the material is effective because its bulk can penetrate through enemy armor. The material is considered by the US EPA as a radiation health hazard when inhaled as dust or shrapnel, but it does not emit enough radiation to penetrate the skin from outside. But yes, if you are exposed to it, it gets on your clothes, you can inhale it. And people do, and people get sick from it. According to the United Nations Environment Program, the metal's chemical toxicity is the biggest danger, and it can cause skin irritation, kidney failure, and increase the risk of cancer. The United Kingdom was the first of Ukraine's allies to provide the country with the ammunition, which is used in the Challenger tanks it provided to Ukraine. The decision by the UK to provide Ukraine with weapons was denounced by Russian President Vladimir Putin at the time, who said the weapons have a nuclear component and that Russia would be forced to react. As I say, this is just another example of the escalation in the war over in Ukraine. Not cool. Very concerning. An environmental disaster, just like the Nord Stream pipeline. And we have a pretty good idea what happened there now, don't we? After the Cy Hirsch expose from, that award-winning journalist who really kind of laid out the whole plan and exposed what really happened. And because of that, that was in itself an environmental disaster. Huge amounts of natural gas, methane, bubbling to the surface from under the, from the bottom of the ocean up into the atmosphere. And they worry about us heating our homes, cooking our food with natural gas. No, they just released unburned natural gas straight into the atmosphere, straight out of the pipeline. Who knows how much, but that's the stuff that it's toxic. And then they turn around and they say that climate change is their biggest concern, that it's the biggest, threat to humanity. No, nuclear war would probably top my list. Not climate change. But they say climate change is their biggest concern, and yet they conduct acts like that where they blow up pipelines and blow up depleted uranium shells and contaminate the environment that way. What hypocrisy. All right, don't go away. I'll have more stuff right after this.
The New World Order. Government overreach. The Great Reset. Mainstream media lies. Now more than ever, independent voices are needed. Donate now at freedomreporters.com. That's freedomreporters.com. Maverick News. The antivirus program for your mind.
Speaking of Redacted, I noticed over on their channel today, earlier, and you might want to check this out later. Don't go now, stay here. But they were going pretty heavy on the UFO stuff over there today. I won't run any clips from it, but that's a subject that I think we're going to dig into deeper, probably coming this weekend with a special show sort of focused on that. We're seeing day after day after day now, all of these references, all these stories about UFOs and UFO whistleblowers. And yesterday, I believe it was at the National Press Club, they held a sort of a conference to talk about UFOs and information that is being exposed now. And they had a bunch of, I guess you could call them whistleblowers or people with firsthand accounts of what apparently has been going on, or they claim has been going on with the United States space program, or maybe not even just a government of the United States space program, but a program that maybe is controlled by the military-industrial complex, where they have been apparently reverse engineering extraterrestrial spacecraft that they have in their possession. And the more we're hearing about it and the more people come forward, the more credibility these stories seem to have. It isn't clear if we really need to be worried or scared. And even the Pentagon, just within the last couple of years, releasing more and more footage recorded by pilots showing unidentified flying objects that they simply have not been able to explain. And now they admit that they can't explain some of this stuff, or so they say. And maybe they can't because maybe they're not privy to what this program is about, or they maybe don't know what this program is about. And some of the people that came out during this news conference, I guess this conference at the National Press Club, indicating that, in some cases they had pictures, but their memory cards were confiscated. Some of them forced to sign non-disclosure agreements, and now using whistleblower laws to hide behind in order for them to come forward and put this information out there for people. And there are a lot of them. And a lot of the people testifying apparently say they are government employees or ex-military or current military, but they're tied in and knowledgeable and participants in one way or another, or witnesses. The one thing that seems to be consistently missing in all of this is actual photographic evidence up close showing all of this stuff. So I don't really know what to make of it all. It certainly warrants more research, though, because it isn't just that event that took place yesterday. It's the whistleblower that came out just 2 days before that. It's the footage from the Pentagon. It's all of these additional stories. There was a news conference with NASA talking about all of this about 3 months ago. Timing might be off on it a little bit, but because we're hearing so much about it, all I can say is there's something there. I don't know what it is. There's some speculation, that this might just be some ploy to get the public to support more funding for programs or maybe the Space Force. But, that's the other thing that sort of has my radar up on this. And when I say my radar, I mean the kind of radar that's like, wait a minute, there's something over there. We need to be paying attention to this. As crazy as it all sounds, there's something going on. And I'm not saying that it means there are little green men running around. Maybe there are. Maybe they really have bodies of actual aliens. I don't know. Or it could just be a government program with secret aircraft or even spacecraft that are sort of maybe even experimental or beyond experimental and maybe even have been deployed. Who knows? And we're hearing these stories even about a military base down in Antarctica, or maybe just a base set up by the military industrial complex. It makes me wonder. But what I do remember when Trump was president, there was one speech that he gave, and I wish that I could recall exactly when and where so I could go back and pinpoint it. But he makes reference to military technology in one of his speeches where he just touches on it. And I thought it was a very unusual comment, but he said, if you knew the technology that we actually have, that I have seen, that I can't really talk about, talking about confidential information, it came on the heels of him, as I recall, talking about UFOs, saying, people ask him a lot of questions now that I'm president, he said at the time. And one of the most common questions is, are UFOs real? What have you seen at Roswell? And then he goes on about the technology, not just the military, and then segues into how the United States has the most powerful military and talks about the Space Force. But it was that reference to, if you knew the technology that we really have, it was that comment, because he had seen something. He had seen some things that are far beyond. It was so clear, technology so far beyond anything that we are aware of, that it made me think that it had to be something related to reverse engineering of some sort of technology, maybe even time travel or something. I don't know, man. Like, it was something way out there, something way, way out there. And now with all these sightings of unidentified, unexplainable flying objects, and these whistleblowers coming forward and indicating that there is crazy technology being used. And some of it, one of the whistleblowers or witnesses, I guess, at this conference was saying, that some of this technology is being used not even just by the military, but by criminals and even human trafficking rings and things like that. So I don't know. Don't know what to make of it all. It could be some sort of a psyop even. Who the heck knows? I've just seen a big ramp up, as I'm sure you have as well, and you're aware that more and more of these videos are popping up online. So keep your eyes and ears open, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure that we're just beginning to hear about this. There will be a lot more to come. Now, talking about Trump being indicted and possibly, convicted at some point, thrown in jail, and maybe even running for office from jail. Well, I don't know. This might not interest our U.S. viewers too much, but it should, because it's entertaining, if nothing else, and concerning on another level. The Toronto mayor's race. It's a big deal for Canadians. It is kind of a big deal even internationally, but whoever wins the mayor's race and takes that top political job in Canada's largest city will end up with a national and even international voice. The post left vacant by former Mayor John Tory, who got caught in a scandal because of a relationship that he was having with one of his female staffers. And now I think there are more than 80 different people running for the position of mayor of Toronto. He's not considered to be a front runner because the polling, whether it's done fairly or not, I don't know. But Chris Sakochia, also known as Chris Sky, from the Freedom Movement side of things, making headlines again today, where this morning he posted a video saying that he was going to have to turn himself in to the cops. No stranger to police. Chris Sky has been arrested, I think it's something like more than 70 times, as I recall. And of course, he was big on noncompliance and still is, but especially big on noncompliance. Sort of a just say no attitude during the pandemic, which of course resulted him running afoul of the law and other politicians at the time. And, I think that's where a lot of his arrests came from. And so far he's been fairly successful in court in beating those charges. But now a whole new set of legal problems, as Chris Sky said that he was going to have to turn himself in. And as I understand it, he did turn himself in this morning to police again. Let's take a look at what he posted.
Hello, everybody. It is Monday, June 12th, and I did warn that the deep state would be getting more desperate and would be doing more.
And so this was posted yesterday, but he turned himself in this morning. But this is what he posted yesterday, and then I'll tell you what happened this morning, as far as I know.
More personal, direct attacks against me. So I'm here to inform everybody my suspicions rang true, and as of tomorrow, I will have to be surrendering myself to 53 Division at 7 a.m. to be charged and arrested for the 27th time, charged for the 73rd time. And all I can tell you is, once again, I'm quite confident that I'll be exonerated, but we do need your help, guys, because they're going to try to make this as a thing for the election. And the best thing that anybody watching can do is go out, share this video, and tell everybody to vote for me, because that's what this is all about, guys. They want to make me seem unelectable. They want to use every psychological tool to try to get you not to vote for me, because they know we have the support we need to win and make the change that this country needs. And for those of you that want to support us, I'm going to leave a phone number on this that you can contact and figure out how you can assist us. Share this video, and whatever you do, June 26th, get out and vote for Chris Sakocha. I'll make a new video as I'm turning myself in, and when I eventually get out, whatever that is, I'll make a video letting you all know I'm okay. In the meantime, share this. Do not get discouraged. We're still going to win this.
Thing is, I don't know what they were charging him with. I haven't been able to determine that. So I don't know if they're just arresting him on gee, Chris, come on in. We haven't arrested you for a while. So Come on over and we'll arrest you again. Turn yourself in. Maybe they dismiss him. I don't know what the charges are. And he was supposed to turn himself in at 7. That's what he said to everybody. And then apparently he showed up early. It was around 5:30 or 6 a.m. when he actually went in. So there was no real video shot of it. I can't find a video from him. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. I've seen nothing online. I have seen some references, though, to him going in earlier than 7, turning himself in. There was something posted from him online, like a photograph or something, at an earlier time, like from inside the police station, I guess. That's how we know that he was in there earlier than 7 a.m. And I'm not sure where it's going from there. So if any of you guys have any more information about what's going on with Chris Sky, let me know. It's not funny. I'm chuckling here, but that's because of the absurdity of the situation, really. And I don't know what to make of all this, man. Like I just don't know. What's our politics coming to? What, even in Canada now, where, you know, Trump's indicted in the US and now you've got a mayoral candidate in Toronto who had to turn himself in today. Don't know. He'll get out. And then we'll find out. Oh, politics. What a strange game. Let me see what else we have for you tonight. Oh, yes, electric vehicles. If you're an early adopter of electric vehicle technology, things may not go as smoothly for you as you like. So, such was the case for a new Rivian owner. This story showing. Oh, hang on a second here. I have a video here now of Chris Sacoccia turning himself in. So let's go to that one. Here we go. Here's Chris Sky turning himself in this morning.
Guys. Hello, everybody. It is Tuesday, June 12th, approximately 5:15 a.m. We are at the 53rd Division on Eglinton Avenue East, and I am going to turn myself in as requested, and I'll message you guys when I get out. Don't forget, guys, I'm not doing this for nothing. I'm doing this for a reason. So don't make it be for nothing. Get out there, June 26th, vote number 82, Chris Sacoccia from there.
So again, though, I don't know what the charges are. Don't know what the charges are. And we don't know whether he'll be released from jail or what. Don't know. So I'm still sitting here waiting. I'm just going to check over here. Maybe there's more information. Yeah, there's nothing new that I'm seeing so far. So I don't think this is going to hurt him. Maybe it'll just reinforce his support with his base of support. Weird situation again. So he's arrested. Don't even know why at this point. Now, back to this story about electric vehicle ownership. Let me bring this up so you can see what I'm talking about. This is another insider story. Headline: a Rivian customer waited 3 years for his dream car. It died within days. So this guy purchases this Rivian. Honestly, I have to be honest, I don't like them. I don't think they're an attractive SUV at all. I think the front ends on those things are kind of ugly. I don't like the headlights. They look weird to me. In any event, that aside, They're an expensive vehicle. Rivian is a company that in a way is a rival of Tesla, has been for some time. It's a company that has tried to be on the cutting edge of electric vehicle development, trying to find its niche within the EV market. But they've had a lot of trouble as a company. They've not been as successful as Tesla. And early adopters, if you will, they've had to wait long periods of time just to have vehicles that they put down payments on delivered. And so this customer, by the name of Chase Merrill, he's only 24 years old. He put down a deposit on an R1S 3 years ago. Other members of his family are Rivian owners, and he loves them, fell in love with the idea of owning one, put a deposit down, waited 3 years to get one, switching over from his 2015 Ford Edge to this full electric SUV built by Rivian. His price tag, $85,626. Bought it on March 10th. Took delivery. Finally got behind the wheel. He was ecstatic. He'd seen all these videos of the Rivian that he had purchased, plowing through snow, just eating it up aggressively, going almost off-roading in the wintertime with the thing, like it was some super SUV, So he was buying into all of that. So then he was heading down a road, and there was a lot of snow, and he decided to go through about 2.5 feet of snow, and of course it got stuck. So he tried to get the thing dislodged, couldn't make it work, and the thing basically broke. These are complicated vehicles, so it got stuck in some mode between park and drive where it wouldn't move, it wouldn't do anything. So he couldn't get it out of the snowbank. There he's stuck with his $86,000 that he paid for this thing. And it's just bricked in a snowbank. So he had to get the thing towed, sent to a dealership for service to get it taken out of this this limp mode where it really wouldn't drive at all. $2,100 because he lives in a remote area and there's no dealership anywhere near him because they don't have a vast dealer network like, say, a General Motors or Ford. So he had to have it towed to this distant dealership, $2,100 towing fee. And then Rivian really didn't want to do much for him. Finally, as the media started calling and asking questions about this, the company started to take a little bit different attitude. And then they agreed to pay for the repairs, but not the tow. And then because there was additional pressure applied, Rivian finally said that they would go ahead and pay for the towing as well and learn from the experience so that they can provide a better product and better service for its customers, for their customers in the future. But even when he got the Rivian back, because it's so complex, I guess there were still error codes popping up on the dashboard because of what had happened to the vehicle. So it looks like this guy is going to sell his Rivian and go back to something more traditional, like maybe even a vehicle with an internal combustion engine. Moral of the story is when you are one of the first to use and pay for new technology, you sometimes get caught because they haven't always worked out all the bugs. Don't go away. More ahead.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
I'm back, and I think we're about ready to start taking some calls or have people join the conversation. But tonight I want to try something a little bit different. To start things off, instead of going to the phones, I'm going to post in the chat on Rumble and on the other platforms as well, a link, a video link. So if you have a webcam, the way to join the program and join the conversation will be to click on the link and join by video, so that we not only hear your voice, we also get to see your bright smiling face here on the program. Now, if you click on the link and you're going to join the program, you'll go into the back room, the back studio. I'll see you in there. Make sure you're wearing decent clothing, no nudity allowed. We're trying to be family friendly and respectable around here. And let's see how this goes tonight. So here is the link to go live with your webcam. Post that in the chat there right now. Anybody is welcome to click on that, and we will have a discussion tonight. Let me just come over here, and we'll put it over here on the Rumble channel as well. And there. I just posted it as Maverick, and if you're in the chat on Rumble, you can now see that link. And, I have to put it on the other Rumble channel as well. And so while I do that, let me run another little promo. And we'll go live in just one moment. Here we go. Hang on.
Fighting the Great Reset. By leading the Great Resistance. Maverick News. The antivirus programs for your mind.
Okay, I'm back, and we have a couple of guests coming in right now. First, we have Auntie Jabestine. Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Great. How are you? And we also have with us Alicia. Welcome.
Hey,
so, Auntie
hello there.
Jabestine, you go ahead first, and what's on your mind?
Nothing. You know who this is, right?
Yes, I do.
It's Queenie. So
yes.
I'm making a play on my words because I'm Auntie Jabestine. I just wanted to come in quick though. I'm on my way to Mirror actually, where Chris Scott has his restaurant. Gonna stop in there and see what the truth is over there. But I wanted to touch base on the Chris Sky thing because, you know, I get so frustrated with people when they don't realize that, you know, that when it comes to those things, in my opinion, those are Trojan horses. Okay, they are just like I'm not in favor of Josh Alexander either, because I'm sorry, but if I was repeating over and over and over a crime that I did and getting let out all the time, something's not right about that. And not only that, but we know there's proof of Chris Guy's father being part of the WEF, and that's where Chris gets all his money from. Now, you think back to the convoy, and I was very involved with it. And do you think I heard his name very often? No, I didn't. He just all of a sudden came out of nowhere, and all of a sudden he's this big hot shot. Okay, so where's James Top? Where's Christine Anderson? Tamara Litch is out there, pushing her new book. Well, sorry, but she had the same restrictions as the rest of them. How was she able to go out and talk about convoy and stuff? People need to wake up and realize that this is not where you want to go. Like, this is not helping us. This is all theoretic. It's theatrical. I've been watching on CPAC and stuff, them going back and forth, and it's unbelievable. Like, we've got Pierre Poilievre in there constantly saying the same question over, with Javestein and the rest of the crew there saying the same answers over. And now we're even getting into where Pierre's like, I'm asking a simple question. Are you or are you not? And he's using it like he's playing like in a game, like, okay, go. It's dumb. Like, they're not taking it seriously, and people need to wake up and they need to start taking this stuff seriously. We're in a state right now that I know more than what's really going on. And you guys, if you guys are going to be sleeping and you're going to sit there and you're going to ignore what's in front of your face, okay? That's the key here. It's in front of your face. And you're going to ignore these things that are in front of your face, then it's going to be on you, and it's only going to be your fault that you let all these things happen. So anyways, I just wanted to come in here and state that because I don't have a lot of time, doing a lot of stuff in the background. We're making things happen here, and I hope everybody can come together this time because it's detrimental to all of us. And even if I don't like you, there's some people I don't like in the chat. I love you, and I want you to be with us in this, and we have a chance if we can all stick together. But you just need to pay attention a little bit more and not believe everything you see and you hear. So I appreciate I'm driving, Rick, so I'm going to let you guys go, but I just thought I'd jump on there and state my little piece. I haven't been on for a while. So much love, peace, and freedom, everybody.
Thank you, Queenie, and you stay safe. Drive very safe. Keep your eyes on the road.
I will. Thank
All
you.
Right. Take care.
Be good.
Hello, Alicia.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine. What would you like to talk about this evening?
Well, number one, that lady that was charged for 32 fires? It happened last June.
Yes. Okay. Yep.
So she's right. You cannot believe everything you hear and see.
That's right.
And I do not believe in UFOs.
I hear you. I hear you. I do believe in experimental aircraft, and I think that there is some crazy technology out there that the military has that they're certainly not letting us know about. That's always been the case to one degree or another. But what is going on, I don't know. Why do you think we're hearing about all the UFOs and getting these whistleblowers just within the last, even month?
I really don't know. I think it's a tactic just to get us off Biden not being all there. and even maybe with what's going on with Trump and Trudeau. We've given over $80 billion to Ukraine.
80 billion Canada? I thought it was 8 billion.
Yeah, 8 billion.
8 billion, yeah.
Yeah. But that's still enough.
Oh, more than too much, in my view.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's $8 billion we didn't have to give to begin with.
not even when good times were coming.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I don't know what to say. All I can say is what a lot of people my age are saying. It's good to be my age.
Yes, I understand what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've had a pretty good run there for a while. Things
Yeah.
have kind of gone off the deep end. That's for sure.
I don't think one man can straighten this mess out. I think there has to be a whole army full of men like Trump and RFK in office to try to straighten this out. There's just so many people out there against us.
Yeah, I agree. Like you can't expect like Trump to get in there and just fix everything, or RFK either. There's just too much against them, right? They need help. They need other people in office and key positions to affect real change. That takes a team.
Yeah. Yeah. And I kind of wished, for the sake of United States, as an example, I almost wish the two of them would get together and really bring the country together. That would help a lot, I think. And forget this, you're a Democrat, I'm a Republican, and we can't work together. That stuff's got to go.
Yes. Yeah.
That stuff's just got to go. It's got to be good people and forget the politics part.
Yeah, and that has been largely the message from RFK Jr. for sure. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. But and you know, do you agree with me? Like, just even within the last few days, RFK Jr. seems to have picked up a lot of momentum.
Oh God, yes. Oh, I think so. Even Hillary Clinton them are now going against Biden. I read where she said that she doesn't think he's mentally capable to run the country anymore. And that was on YouTube that she said it. And there were some other ones too, but I can't remember who they were. But prominent people were saying that they're kind of turning against him. And if they do, I think they'll jump on with RFK for the simple fact that RFK likes Hillary Clinton and Biden and them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I think his name helps him a lot. That Kennedy energy, the you know, the how can I put it? You know, it's just the magic that comes with the Kennedy name.
Yeah, they're like what people always said. They're United States royalty.
Yes. Yeah.
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 And I think the family will get behind him once he gets really going. I think right now they're torn because they don't want to knife Biden, because apparently Biden's been at their dinner table and the whole thing. But at some point, they're going to have to realize that his brain problems are just old age has caught up with him. He's just not the same. And I heard that he had two brain operations, and one he was actually bleeding in the brain, and they gave him the last rites and stuff. And people have been reporting that even right after those two brain surgeries, he was not the same person as he was before the operation.
Yeah, I don't know how much weight to give those reports, but regardless, what is very apparent is he does not have full control, or his, you know, he doesn't have full capacity mentally anymore. He's in decline, and it's going senile.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
So here's a question for you. We've been giving serious thought to ramping up our coverage of RFK Jr. And putting a team together, because there really isn't a mechanism in place right now to allow us to cover him because there's no access, there's no live streams out, things like that. So we're thinking of putting together a team or a system so that we can begin to cover those speeches on a regular basis, because Trump already has that going on with him. RFK, thinking of covering that on a regular basis so that we can kind of get real balance going there. Do you think that would be of interest and of real value to the Maverick family? Is that something you would like to see happen on this channel? Should we give it that much coverage, that much attention?
I've always liked the Kennedys, right from the time I was 6 and had to witness the shooting in Dallas and the whole bit, and it just screwed my mind.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always been for the Kennedys, but yeah, I think it's interesting. But on the other hand, I'm thinking there's so much awful stuff that's going on in Canada that I think that's more what we should focus on the most.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like I've seen in chat where they're kind of, what are we listening to this American stuff for? We're Canadians, you know? So I'm not sure, but if you got a special podcast, that would be like a different thing. Then if people are interested, they could tune into it. And if they're not, they can stay on your regular program.
Yeah, that's not to say that we would abandon our regular program. This would be above and beyond. There might be overlap, or sometimes the speeches might be happening while we're on the show, but we would be able to, provide, maybe even in some cases, exclusive coverage of these events. And, to me, anything that happens with a presidential race or even in politics in the United States has a direct impact on Canada. So I think
for sure.
Yeah.
Well, the way you used to cover it with Trump, that was good. That was good. And I think people enjoyed that. But I don't know if you want to go to an exclusive show.
No, it doesn't mean that we can't cover other candidates. It's just that we need to sort of plan and commit resources and pick where we can place those resources to provide coverage. And so that campaign, because I think that's the one right now that has the most momentum and the least amount of coverage, and there's an opportunity for us to embed ourselves there as sort of a primary media outlet and provide coverage of it where very few, if anybody else even is. So we can establish ourselves on that front and still provide coverage of all the other campaigns, but, commit our resources there, because we're not a mainstream media outlet with tons of government money or pharmaceutical funding, right? We don't have that. So we can't commit crews to go to all of the campaigns. We kind of have to pick and choose where we can focus our coverage.
And I think it's a good idea, because I really feel that there's no way that Biden's going to be in the running in 2024. His health decline in just the last year and a half has deteriorated so fast. So it's going to be against Trump and Bobby Kennedy, and that's going to be one heck of a race.
Yeah, I think that's really I think you just nailed it right there. I think that Biden is likely to fail at some point and drop out, probably for health reasons, whether he falls over 10 more times or just decides one day to call it quits because he can't remember whether he's, what state he's in or what state of mind even.
Well, that fall over the sandbag, he went down really hard. I think he's really lucky that he didn't break his hip.
Yep.
I mean, he is 84. Is it 84 years old?
I believe so. Yes, that's pretty old for a president.
Not just a president. That's getting pretty old for anybody.
That's right.
for anybody.
Yeah.
And I know he was such an awful man, according to, what you're saying and what I'm saying. But still, to me, I look at him now and it's just a sad old man. And I really feel sorry for him. And I think it's disgraceful what they're doing to him.
I agree with you. I feel sorry for him too. I don't feel that sorry for him because I've watched him over the years and he's kind of been a jerk.
Oh, that show, what he said to Scott Ritter was just disgusting.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, I don't have a lot of sympathy for him, but at the same time, I think that what they're doing with him, what they're doing to him, I agree with you. I think it's cruel, actually, to put him through this.
Yeah.
And it's not fair to the country. It's not fair to the world.
Oh my God. Yes. Yeah. It's shameful. It just tells you how crooked and low they've become.
Yeah, because he's not in charge. It's the people behind him. Yeah. And I think that, if during the race for the nomination, he steps aside or has to drop out, RFK Jr. is the only viable option the Democrats have right now, unless something else happens. But that's it, as far as I can see.
That's it. Yeah. Yeah, that's it.
So then he becomes the nominee. He runs against Trump. And boy, I think Trump better watch out. That I think
I
there's.
hate to say it, but I don't think Trump can beat him.
Not sure.
Because Trump's already had 4 years, and he scared a lot of people from voting for him again. Like, he did a lot of things that people didn't like. And the only thing that I can see that people don't really like about Bobby is they're scared that he's going to be too much of an environmentalist.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's his only downfall there.
That's the thing. And that is the one area that does concern me with him, because I'm not a big climate change guy, right? So I'm not sure where he will come down on an issue like that. And that is one of the key areas that I'm worried about, because the governments around the world that subscribe to this globalist agenda, if you will, they use that as the tool to, hit us with more taxes and come up with programs that control us more. It's the climate change religion, in my opinion. So that concerns me a little bit on that side with him. So I'm kind of in agreement with you there.
Yeah. Well, wind turbines and solar is okay in climates that do not have winter. When I go across country to go up towards Napanee, there's got to be 100 acres of nothing but solar farms. And in the winter, they're all covered with snow and ice, so they're definitely not generating any electricity.
Yes. Well, I do know that in spite of what the government says, wind and solar is not less expensive than fossil fuels like natural gas or even oil. It is not. And the other thing that the federal government, federal governments are doing, but especially in Canada with this agenda that they're on now to increase the price of fossil fuels and so on, is, they're forcing the oil companies to put more ethanol and alcohol-based components into gasoline made from corn and soybeans. But I also know that the actual science on that is a net negative energy source, and those forms of gasoline supplements are only viable economically with government subsidies. There's an ethanol production facility right here in the town where I live, and I've followed that story for years and years. And it's only the government subsidies that make it viable. It would not be operating if they weren't pumping tax dollars into it, because it's more expensive to produce than just gasoline made from oil. And And yet they keep on pushing it. And it's a net negative energy source, which means actually you get less energy out of it than you put into it by the time you plant the seeds, harvest the crop, transport the crop using fuels like energy to do all of these things to the refinery to make the ethanol, and then you take the ethanol and you transport it to the oil refinery to mix it with the gasoline, and then take it from there and transport it again to the gas stations. And by the time you put it into your vehicle and burn it, it's a less dense form of energy than gasoline itself. And you actually end up, it takes more energy to produce it than you actually get back out of it. Believe it or not, it's true. And that didn't even come from Ripley's. That came from me right here.
Oh, I gotta agree, because I think it's just another form of you will own nothing and be happy. They're
Oops, we lost your signal. Oh, you're back there. Yeah.
To make the country go bust. Because in Canada, in the wintertime, unless your car's in a heated garage, the electricity will not charge up the batteries because it's too cold.
Yeah, they lose a lot of their capacity. That's true.
And how big a battery would I have to have on a tractor to be out in the hayfield mowing for 8 hours straight?
That's right. And then you have to charge it up. And how long does that take?
Exactly. And then the second day, when I rake it, if I cut for, say, 8 hours, then raking cuts it in half, about 4 hours. And then about 2 hours later, you got to go bale it. So that's another 4 hours. I wouldn't have enough batteries to put in the tractor to keep going.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
Doesn't make sense. It's definitely not going to work by 2030 because, well, it's like 1 week goes by so fast. Before I know it, it's Saturday again.
I agree. Hey, look who it is. Hey, I like your shirt.
It's a work shirt.
Yeah, it's Leo. You have to do your intro though, because if we don't get your intro, it's just not a good show.
Well, you got the mug of the Celtic man without a plan to master all your disasters coming to you. I got some company now, Rick. Look at my office. We'll do a 360.
Nice.
When I thought I was all alone for the last 3 years in here, I'm not now. We're expanding.
Oh, hey, more desks.
Means more money at the end of the day, right?
Well, that's a positive sign, I guess. We'll hope that continues.
Yeah, the economy's not hurting over here anyways. Did you get that nice rainstorm that just passed Windsor?
Yes, I got rained on here all day off and on. And I was caught out walking my dog this afternoon. I got completely drenched. Dog doesn't mind. Not so much fun for me, but that's okay.
My tomato plants are loving it.
Yes. Oh, mine too. Yeah. They just jumped right up.
And you know what I want to do, Leo? I want to bring you on and talk to you about your experience with your garden, because so many people, are being, they're talking about gardening and preparing for the future and reducing dependence. And I just want to do a more extensive interview, not tonight, but more extensive interview about the whole process, your experience setting up your garden. I think that would be a great interview.
Anytime. And I'm always experimenting with my garden, and I grow my own weed, and I got this Kush plant, right? It's called Mango Kush. I'm going to graft it to the tomato plant. We're going to call it tomato mango Kush. Okay, and, it'll work.
A little bit of salt and pepper.
Okay.
A little bit of salt and pepper on those tomatoes.
Yeah, those are going to be tomatoes that'll be worth probably $25 a piece when I'm done with them. But yeah, I've done it before. I did it back in the 80s when I first started growing weed, right? I successfully grafted a marijuana plant to a tomato plant, and it took on the distinctive smells of the tomatoes. So when it was done, the flowers of the pungent marijuana smelled like tomatoes. Guys were bummed out. They're like, "You got to be joking me! I've never seen that before in my life." Right?
So how does that work? Because I heard the female plants is the only one that gives you anything, and the male plants you just throw them away.
Yeah, that's what you do. But when you graft it, you're taking on the root system of the tomato plant, and there's a huge similarity between tomatoes and marijuana, right? So they're both soft shooted. It's easy to do. I'm going to do it on. I don't know if I'm going to do it on Facebook or YouTube. But you're right, Rick. It's a huge viewing audience when it comes to gardening. If I was just looking at different techniques and stuff like that. Like a lot of people don't know about hydrogen peroxide. Well, I do. I've been using it indoor and out for years when it comes to growing. And some people say, "Oh, it's a chemical." Well, it's H2O2. Okay, it's a natural chemical. Okay, it's harmless, and there's a lot of benefits to the garden. There's a lot of disadvantages to the garden with it too, right? But if it's used properly, it could be used as a pesticide. It could be used as adding oxygen to the roots and killing off different bad microbes that you don't want, right? So, yeah, my garden's going to look good when I'm done. That's for sure. When it's done,
They say Epsom salts is good too.
Epsom salts is really good. There's a lot of things you can use. You can make up your own insecticidal soaps with natural soaps, a little bit of Arm & Hammer, baking soda, right?
Yeah.
A little bit of vinegar oil. You can make up your own antibacterial soaps, right? For pennies on the dollar. Pennies, right? And that's what I'm all about, right? I'm trying to stay away from fertilizers. I have 20 kilogram bags of 7-Eleven 27 and calcium nitrates, right? I don't want to go that route. I want to try and keep it as natural as I can, right? And
Get
if I have to,
and blood meal and mix it in your soil this fall and stir it up, and then it slowly releases your nitrogen and stuff.
Exactly. Bone and blood meal is really good, really good, right? Thank God I haven't had anybody messing with it, like the squirrels or the raccoons or the possums. So I do live in the city, and they're all around me, right? So I haven't had any issues with that yet. If it does arise, then I'm going to go with chicken wire, and I'll fence it off really good, right? Instead of having it wide open the way it is. But yeah, it's an experience because I've never grown a vegetable garden in my life. It's always been weed, right? So I'm just taking the techniques I learned with grass over to this, and I know I'm going to be successful. I'm not going to fail, that's for sure.
So what do you call a tomato after it's been grown that way? What do you name it?
I'm going to call it well, it's Mango Kush. There's the marijuana plant in tomatoes. I'm going to call it Tomato Mango Kush.
Okay.
So yeah,
well,
it should be interesting. I'm going to get a lot of views on that for sure, because you don't see that. I haven't seen it on the internet at all, and it's going to be pretty funny to see, right? But I got 10 different types of tomato strains and peppers and you name it, right? I just laid down the beets and the what else was it? The radishes, the beets, the onions are in. Everything's in. I got watermelons, honeydews, broccoli, cauliflower. I got a nice variety, right? So, and that's where the peroxide will step in, especially with the cauliflower and the broccoli, because you get the white flies and the worms and stuff like that, right? Where the peroxide, and you got to use it properly. You can't overdo it, right? Like I get the peroxide. The stuff you buy at the store is 3% peroxide. The stuff I get is 35%. If you put your finger in it, you'll burn your finger. If you get it in your eye, you'll go blind right away, right? So I get it concentrated, but I got to dilute it. You got to dilute the 3% as well, right? You just can't go 3% peroxide. So it's use a ratio of about 10-1. So for each bottle of 3%, you better add 10 bottles of water with it, right? So
what about the politics of today? What would you like to comment on?
You know what? The politics of today, what they're doing to Chris Sky is wrong, right? And for him to have to turn himself in, man, it is what it is. You can't, it's like playing with the mafia. Okay. You're just going to push and push and push and push till you find yourself in a barrel. Okay. And you're tossed into Lake Ontario. Now, I don't trust any governments. Now, even the pastor you had on last night, I don't trust any government, period. And I don't think he's the savior. Okay, if he was to run and he would have won, he's the savior to it all. Not even close. Okay. Now everybody has an agenda. Well, his is obviously political, right? I get it. He's in the right mind. He's saying, "Oh, I want to save the people," and this and that. Okay, but then when he said the word last night about tossing that thing, that pineapple, I'm not going to say it on here because we'll get banned. That pineapple thing,
Yeah.
I've met a lot of con artists and manipulators in my life, a lot. Okay, and I know when people are getting soaked. Don't believe the hype, man. I don't believe any of them. I don't believe the mayor of Windsor. I don't believe my city council, and I know my city councilor, Reno. I know him very well. Okay, I don't believe them. I don't believe any of them. Okay, because once they're in, they change. It's all about the bottom line is their bottom pocket, right? And you see that everywhere in politics. They'll say whatever they can to get you in, to get their spot, to get your vote. And you see with Polyev, okay, I don't trust him. I don't trust, definitely do not trust the liberals. I don't trust the conservatives. I don't trust Max. I don't trust any of them, man. We're all being had at the end of the day.
Yeah. I totally understand. You have a lot of volunteers and a lot of people who go into the streets and demonstrate and go to rallies and support and wave the signs, all to get somebody into office. And then sometimes, well, most often they get in there and they don't even do what they say they were going to do most of the time.
It's lies. It's all lies at the end of the day, right? They come in with great intentions and great ideas, but that changes fast as soon as they get the seat, right?
Yeah.
It's
so
like
is that going to happen with Chris Guy? Soon as he gets in there and starts getting that big money, is he going to flip too?
Chris Guy will never get in. Don't kid yourself.
Oh, I don't think he will either.
Yeah, he's got about as much chance as the pastor had, right?
That Chinese lady's getting in through riding on the back of her dead husband and stuff.
Olivia Chow, the wife of former NDP leader Jack Layton, who passed away a few years ago.
And Jack Layton was a man of the people. I don't care what anybody says. Okay, I don't like NDP, but I'll tell you, I did like Jack Layton. Okay, he was a man of the people, and he was doing what he said he was going to do. And I think the conspiracy theorists out there would say that they killed him off because he was a threat for the prime minister's office. Jack Layton.
Well, something happened because it happened quite fast. It was totally unexpected.
Yeah, that's called cancer. That's called cancer. When you get it, it happens fast for some people. Some people, it don't happen fast. They live for 10, 15 years with the cancer, right? Some people are wiped out in 6 months, right? I've seen guys in the hospital, and they say, "You're not leaving." What do you mean I'm not leaving? You got stage 3 cancer. You got about 6 days to live if you're lucky. And they don't leave, right? They go into hospice and they die. But I've seen other people live 20 years with cancer.
Yeah.
Right? They catch it, it's in remission. If they don't, it's a death sentence, right? It's just a matter of burning out the days.
And what was your assessment of Trump's day in court today for his arraignment?
His day in court was like the last day in court. Exactly like the last day in court. Nothing's going to come of it. At the end of the day, Trump will be exonerated, or however you want to put it over there. Okay, he'll walk from all charges. Will he get elected? Who knows? I don't trust that JFK's RFK. I don't trust him either. Okay, I don't. For starters, he grew up where? Martha's Vineyard. Okay, where all the money is. He's spoon-fed, silver spoon-fed, gold spoon-fed. I don't trust him. Okay. He comes from nothing but money and bullshit, right? You look at the old man. What was his name? Jack?
Like the grandfather? Joe
the
Kennedy?
Grandfather, Jack.
Joe Kennedy. Joseph. Joe
Joseph. Yeah, the bootlegger, rum runner.
Right.
Gangster.
Yeah. So
Okay.
most of people back then was.
I'm not saying that, I'm not against any of that. Hey, I'm not against any of that. Look where I live, Windsor, Ontario, and this was a huge bootleg in town. Okay, and I got my grandfather was a bootlegger, and you know, yeah, a lot of people were, right. That's how they made their money. But the thing was, the corruption was with him. Okay, and it just fed right down. He got his money. If it wasn't for bootlegging, they would have been poor boys in the Bronx, right? They wouldn't have been in Martha's Vineyard.
But I have to disagree with you because I grew up in the Kennedy era, and you're totally wrong. John was totally for the underprivileged people. So was Bobby, and I really think that Bobby's son is the same block off the old block, as they say.
Yeah, well,
I think you're wrong. They're
JFK.
people.
I was born in 70, so JFK was before me. When did he get shot, in 69 or 68?
63.
He got shot in 63? Wow. Yeah. Okay, so much I know, right, about that part of history.
And Bobby in 68.
But I did watch a show on Marilyn Monroe, and if any of that's true,
that's bull. So he had a fling with her, but
no, I'm not
he
saying
didn't kill her.
Well, no, have a fling is one thing, but what I seen in that show, I think it was called Marilyn or whatever, right? It was rapings and all kinds of crazy shit that was going on, right? So if any of that's true, who knows, right? You know, it was a biography of Marilyn Monroe, right? So.
Well, Marilyn Monroe grew up in the time that in Hollywood, to get anywhere, that's what you had to do.
Well, it was strange times back then. It was legal to beat up your wife and your kids and your dog and everything else. No, really, it was. You know, I went motherless till I was about 5 years old because, you know, it was like I just said, it was legal. My mother left me and my 5 brothers with my father because my dad would beat her senseless. Okay, and that was if dinner wasn't cooked, you got beat up. Okay, drinking and driving was legal. It was crazy, right? So my mother just packed up and left, and I don't blame my mother. That's the way times were, and it was going on in a lot of households in North America back then in 1970, right?
True.
Yeah.
You know, it was to the point where my mother said, "I want to take the 3 little boys," and I was the baby, and you keep the 3 oldest. And my dad put a gun in her mouth, said, "The only thing that's going to split this family up is the back of your head when I pull this trigger." Okay, that's the way things were in 1970, right? You try and pull that shit today, you even put a hand to a woman, okay, your ass is going to jail, right? Times have changed. Drinking and driving, oh well, yeah. Back then, you're so drunk, the cop would pull you over. Oh, come on, we'll give you a ride home. Follow us, we'll make sure you get home safe, right?
I can't say anything. I'm guilty as sin.
Of what? Drinking and driving?
Yes.
Yeah, that's one thing I've never done.
Oh, it's easy.
It is. I never done it because
and I never thought nothing about it. Like I never noticed any difference in my driving. Like, you know, it was just that's what everybody did back then. Nobody...
It was like no seatbelts, right?
Exactly. Oh, I fought that. Got a fine for no seatbelt. I wear a seatbelt now.
Yeah, I've done a lot of crazy things in my life, but I've never even had a speeding ticket or a red light ticket or no seatbelt, no DUIs. I got a clean driving abstract, right? And guys, I go over to my boss's house and they were all drinking a couple weeks ago, and I get there around 10 o'clock at night, and one of the people there said, "I'm going to drive home." I said, "Listen, I'll drive you home." And then he started talking about going to Ipperwash. I said, "I ain't driving to Ipperwash, but I'll drive you home." Yeah, so ended up driving him home, and he was thankful.
I got a speeding ticket last summer.
Yeah, the worst thing you could do in my eyes is lose your license, because for me, it's a privilege that I have to have. Okay, I'm not going to jump on a bicycle.
They changed the speed sign.
Yeah, where are you at? Are you from the States?
No, I'm north of Kingston.
North of Kingston, that would be Ottawa.
Yeah, but not that far. 15, 20 minutes from Kingston.
Oh, from Kingston?
Ottawa is about an hour and a half from me.
What, are you from Napanee?
No, you go past Napanee.
The Indian Reserve there?
Well, that's where I was going, was to the reserve to get cigarettes.
Oh, nice. Cheap
Yeah,
out there.
so the good song on the radio, and the old foot just goes down on the gas pedal, and but the cop, and you're gonna love it too. I had my Freedom Trucker shirt on, so I had to get out of the truck. I had friggin' farm plates on the back of the truck, and my Freedom Trucker shirt on from the Ottawa. So I thought maybe I was in real big trouble, but it was $365 fine, I think.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a nice diesel truck, and honestly, it's never seen over 130 kilometers an hour, and that's never. If I drive it, when I drive it on the highway, I do 118 kilometers an hour. I baby it, right? My wife, she went up to a family reunion. She didn't tell me, and she got the ticket. It came in the mail, and I opened it up. So what's this about? She was doing $133 down to 401, and they tagged her for it, right? And I said, let's gonna go, get up the insurance. We got joint insurance on the vehicle. Lucky it didn't. Nobody caught it anyways, but she ended up paying the ticket. And I'm like, man, oh man.
Well, I was mad because I was stopped at the stop sign with my signal on to turn onto the 401 when the cop pulled up behind me and then put the lights on me and told me to go towards Odessa, and then pulled me over and said, "Did you know you were speeding?" And I said, "No." He goes, "Well, you were."
What were you doing in the Ukraine?
Ukraine?
Yeah,
No,
Odessa.
Odessa.
Yeah, Odessa, next to Kiev.
Yeah, no. I'd be really in trouble over there. He would shoot me. Yeah, Ukraine wouldn't like me.
Yeah, the only time you're allowed to speed in Ukraine is if you're headed to the front lines. Yeah, that's another ball of wax over there, Rick. I'm not buying anything that they're saying about the Ukrainians advancing on this town and that town. Russia's not going to lose. Plain and simple, they're not going to lose. They're a nuclear power,
Well, there was something on today about Ukraine bombing something.
Ukraine has nothing. Okay, they have nothing, and that's the thing. They sending drones and everything else is one thing. Okay, they have nothing. Every day that this war goes on, they get less and less and less. It's only a matter of time before the people stand up and revolt there, and they've had enough. When they don't have any food on the table, which is very soon. Okay, they don't have any food on the table, and people are starving, and it's a famine. And that's when the people will stand up, and his own people will take him out right at the end of the day.
That's what they're saying about Trudeau. They're saying that he's hiding over there.
I highly doubt that. He ain't got the balls.
Well, he's over there.
Yeah, well, he was just there to deliver more money and pose for another photo op.
Right.
But
Joe
Biden
was there also, remember? The photo shoot and everybody clapping. Then you found out it was in Poland.
Yeah. Well, they're saying that Trudeau's staying over there because of the rapporteur stepping down.
Oh, yeah. With the Chinagate.
Chinagate.
Yeah.
The special rapporteur.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's sort of like the special. He's sort of like the special rapporteur that we had for the Freedom Convoy. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly
I thought it
the
was
same.
the same person at first, the same judge.
No. Yeah, they hired.
Kind of looked alike. They both got white hair.
It's funny. They hired a guy at my work, and he came in. He's like, "Hey, Leo, man," I sat down with him. He's on days. I'm on afternoons, but we got a 2-hour shift relay over, right? So he was sitting with me, and we were talking. He says, "I was following everything you're doing with the Freedom Convoy and everything else." And I told him, I said, there's two sides to the Freedom Convoy. You got the far, far right side, that's the violent side, that wants to burn everything down, take out the government. And then you got the right side, or maybe off to the middle side, I guess it would be in the middle, that want to do it peacefully and democratically by voting people out, right? And he's like, you know what? I see that now. And I've finally come to the conclusion that the far right side, now the gay community and all that stuff, the people are up in arms in, okay? The far right are taking it too far.
Oh, totally
Live and let
agree.
live. Live and let
Yep.
live.
Yep.
Okay? They don't want to, because guess what? They're not on the freedom convoy anymore, because that's all faded out. So they got to morph onto something else, right? Some more hatred. After the gays and the transgender shit's done, what are they going to jump onto next? Right? It's going to be the big question.
Well, I received some stuff by email today that I will not tell you what it was, but it was very, very concerning. And yeah, it's going exactly where I was afraid it might go. I dare not say it here on the air.
Yeah, I'm sick of it, Rick. Really, I am.
Yeah.
I tend to make up my own mind at the end of the day. I don't let anybody else feed me the shit that I see, because my eyes don't lie. It's like
I
you.
guess it was a good show in Washington on the Hill. Was it yesterday or today, with the trans all free boobies
Oh yeah,
and the whole bit jumping around.
Hey, I don't stand for a second for any of it to be taught in schools. Okay. Now, yeah, people are having sex in grade 8, grade 9. Yeah, I got my first blowjob in grade 8. Okay, that's me. But we didn't talk about sex in schools. We didn't have sex education until I reached grade 11, health sciences, right?
But you must have been at least 15 in grade 8.
No, I was 20. I was one of the dumb ones. No, I'm joking.
20.
14, 15 years old, right?
In my day, if you they just pushed you through regardless if you passed or not. They just pushed you to the next grade to get rid of people as fast as possible.
No, they didn't play that down here.
Yeah.
But no, I was about 14, 15 years old, right? I didn't lose my virginity, but I did get a blowjob in the same token, right?
Well, there we go with Biden.
Yeah, that was the White House yesterday. And I guess there were people there topless at the White House. It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
I didn't see this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, not a lot of people in the audience there topless, but there were some topless people there. I saw some photos.
Yeah, dude. The parades and everything else, and you see them running around bare ass downtown Toronto and everything else. Okay, I don't stand for any of that crap. I don't.
No. That's
the line.
What's turning people off.
Right. If I was to pull my pants down and run down OLED Avenue, I don't care if it's Pride or whatever you want to call it, right? You should be arrested for indecent exposure. Okay, there's kids. Kids are watching this shit, right?
Yeah.
I interviewed my I call him my grandson. He's not, but the other day on Facebook Live, and he's in grade 2, and I asked him, and I did a Facebook Live because he's been bugging me all morning. His mom dropped him off at our house, right? So I'm always grilling them with questions, right? Because knowledge is everything, right? I want to see what the kid knows. So I said, we're going to go Facebook Live, and I asked him, I said, can men have babies? And he said, nope. He's in grade 2. Nope. I said, where do babies come from? And he said, the butthole. I said, the butthole? He goes, no, the vagina. The vagina. He's only grade 2, but the kid's got more sense than, well, you just seen the parade with Biden there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So what would be your opinion on something like Mardi Gras, where, the women get beads and stuff?
Well, as a heterosexual, it is what it is. It's like going to a rock concert. I don't think women should be ashamed of showing their breasts. It's actually legal in Ontario if a woman wants to go topless.
Yeah.
Right? They just don't express it. You don't see it. And everybody thought, by the government of the day passing that law that women are going to go breastless in Ontario. No, you don't see it. Right? The option is there.
Yep.
Right? But you don't see it.
I remember when that law was passed, and at the time we were doing news stories about it when I was working for CTV, and you'd go to these protests. Well, even before the law was passed, when they were and then after it was passed, and they were like at demonstrations where, we're going to, show that we're free to show our breasts. So they were running around topless, but as soon as the cameras would show up, they'd do this and cover themselves up. And it's like, well, why? You're running around out in public and everyone can see you, but you don't want your picture taken because you don't want people to look at you. It's like some weird thing in the head.
Rick, when you lived in Windsor, you remember the Studio 4?
Yes.
Okay, the strip club.
Yeah.
In 1987, I was 17 years old, still in high school. That was my first job, was working in that industry, right? I was a busboy, and I'd have to wipe off all the boob prints on the glass or on the mirrors and everything else, right? And so at 17 years old, I'm in this industry where all the women are naked, right? And it was weird, right? And I'd go to school. I was still in high school. I'd go to high school. I'd go in the courtyard, and people are like, "Man, you got the best job in the world." And I did. At 17 years old, I had the best job in the world, right? But to see it and work in that environment and being a kid, it was weird, really weird. And when they did the like you just said, they passed that law, everybody thought, "Oh my God, all the women are going to go crazy and topless." I didn't see it, and I still don't see it today. And it's legal.
Yeah.
And I've been to nudist beaches myself. I've been to Wreck Beach in Vancouver numerous times, right? And pretty wild times down there. The girlfriend of the day, let's go to Wreck Beach. Yeah, well, I got no problems getting naked on a nudist beach. I don't. And I did it. I probably will never do it again because I got so sunburned, because that part of your body never sees the sun, right? And it was excruciating for 3 weeks. The pain, right? I'll never, ever do it again.
But for a parade down a main street in just a city where you have families out, it just, to me, seems inappropriate for nudity to be there.
It is. It's common sense. Okay. I wouldn't take my kids down there because you know what you're going to get. Now, the parents that take their kids down the Pride need to get their head checked.
Years ago, I was on my way to work, and it was in Windsor. And it was on Ouellette. Was it Ouellette? Anyway, it's an overpass there, right? And the railroad tracks run underneath. It was the dead of winter. It was a super cold day. And as I'm driving over the overpass, I'm sorry if I'm getting the geography wrong, but I look to my right, and down on the railroad tracks, there's this guy. He's wearing a toque and some boots and some fuzzy socks and nothing else. And he's pleasuring himself in the middle of the railroad tracks. And I was like, what the hell? This is like at 8 o'clock in the morning. And it had to be -20. And, to me, that's mental illness.
That's mental illness, but in the same sense, it's indecent exposure. Something you should have intervened.
Yeah,
he was waiting for the train.
I wasn't gonna stop and run down. No, I'm on my way to work, dude. So I don't know what happened to that guy, but that is always stuck in my mind. And then when I think about people running down the street, even in a parade, nude or semi-nude, it seems, I look at a lot of this stuff going on, even with all the colors and the rainbows, it looks like a circus. And they look like circus performers, and it might look like fun. And maybe, I think that's why some people are so accepting of it is because it's like they're clowns. And it almost comes off like a clown thing.
But naked clowns, I got a problem
right
with.
Now in public with nudity, and you've got kids there, and it is sexualized, and it's very sexualized, and it's flaunted. I'm starting to get squeamish about it. I don't like it. Not in my town. on the main street with families, no nudity. Like they have a pride parade here in my town, but I don't think there's any nudity.
Yeah.
But when they start taking the clothes off, now to me, I think, man, too far. So just like the
what's
far
their
right
point
goes too
in
far,
taking the
the
clothes
people on that
off?
side are going too far as well. There's too much extremism on both sides.
Well, people are brainwashed, okay? And I'm going to read a comment here. Robert Brand, Leo, did you go to Epstein Paradise? Robert, because I don't agree with you on last night's pasture and what he had to say. That's too bad. This is freedom of speech. This is a platform for freedom of speech. And you're not going to tell me how to think, pal. Okay, you're a clown. And you can join the other clowns that are on there that are talking shit because I ain't going to buy it, right? But there's your 2 seconds of fame, Robert Brand. Why don't you come on the show and run your
sure.
gate? Because that's what it is, right? You're
there's
just
the
running your gate, and you're more than welcome to come on. Put your face on. Let's see what you look like. So, and there's a lot of clowns out there, okay? And it's the gay movement's no different from everything else that's going on, and people telling you how to act and how to live and do this and do that. Okay, I'm not buying any of it. Like I said, I work 12, 13, 14-hour shifts, so it's kind of like pulling my way out of society, and I'm getting paid. And when I get home, I want to garden. I want to pick up dog shit in my backyard. I just want to do normal things. Okay, I don't want to get involved in the gay pride movement. Okay, you're over there, I'm over here, and nobody's going to tell me how to live my life.
Yeah,
do
your own thing, man. Just do your own thing.
I want to go jet skiing on Sunday. I'm going to go jet skiing on Sunday. I'm going to cook steaks for the family on Father's Day. I'm going to cook steaks for the family on Father's Day, right? I don't need anybody to sit there and tell me, especially when you got a pastor on there. And like I said, he's, in my eyes, he's a master manipulator. Okay. You should ask him the question, how much money does he make, Rick? Okay,
well, I didn't really think of it that way last night when he was on, and I did have several people message me afterward, and actually some of them beforehand. I just didn't see their messages who had asked me to ask him that. Maybe if he's back on the show again in the future, I'll have an opportunity to do that. He did clear up some things that I'd been wondering about, but yes, there were some answers that he gave that still rise to a level where it's not really clear.
Right. I get it. Okay. I get it. He wanted to help the poor, this and that. But when I had a problem when he said, he was arrested for helping a homeless, hungry child that was going to die if he didn't feed him. I call bullshit on that. Okay. Any pastor I know is all about peace, love, and happiness, not yelling at police and doing everything else that he was doing. I don't know. It's lunatic. That's what it is. And then Robert Brand say, "Oh, he's done more than you." Hey, I'm not out to judge. Maybe he has done more than me, but I do know one thing: I put up $1 million, over $1 million of my own money for my community, okay, and my charities in this town. And you can look at it in mainstream media. It's being tested before the courts now as we speak. So I did my part, Robert Brand. Did you do yours? And I was arrested for my part too. Not saying one's better than the other, but at least I know when to shut it off, right?
Yeah. Well, a lot of people skeptical, that's for sure. Queenie was on here just before you and had similar concerns, right?
Yeah, I seen it. Yeah. Queenie's she is what she is, right? She does what she does. I'm not here to say, Queenie, I don't like you and what you said. You got a right to say whatever you want to say at the end of the day. Don't let anybody fear you out of saying it, right? Because they will. Some people take an inch and then they'll take a mile. You give them that inch, they'll take a mile. I get it. I just don't give you the inch.
Well, tell me, Leo, what do you think about all this UFO talk right now?
I'm sort of like Alicia. If I don't see it, I don't believe it, right? The proof is in the pudding. Until an alien comes down here and knocks on my door and asks for some water, I'm not going to believe it, right?
Yeah.
And I've done a lot of drugs in my life, and I still haven't seen any aliens, Rick.
Yeah, well, I was watching Redacted today. They were going hard on the alien stuff because they had this whole conference at the National Press Club yesterday, where they had all these speakers who were supposed to be former military or whistleblowers or eyewitnesses. And one guy said he'd been abducted, and another guy said that he'd been down to Antarctic where they had this, base of operation where they have all these reverse engineered aircraft and, more and more and more people coming forward talking like this, one after another at this conference. But the one thing that seems to be missing consistently is actual physical or even photographic evidence up close with clear video or clear photos in these places with these things. I'm not seeing it, so I remain skeptical.
Well, the guy in Nevada there outside Las Vegas last week that called the 911 call about the aliens in the backyard. Now, okay, everybody has a camera on their phone, or you have a cell phone, okay, with a camera on it. Now, there's no video of it. And then I seen a video come out the other day of the 911 call and the alien in the backyard, right? You know what? The technology came from somewhere. Don't kid yourself. The pyramids weren't built. The pyramids were not built by humans. Okay, it just wasn't built that way. Okay, they're still standing. How old are the pyramids? 10,000 years old. Okay, somebody came down and built the pyramids. Okay, but like I said,
no, the Egyptians built them.
The Egyptians built them. I don't know, man. I don't know. Some people say the Egyptians, some people say the aliens, right? I like I said, if I don't see it, I don't believe it.
Well, I think we're going to do a new show on here on a regular basis, and it's going to be called True Spiracies. And we're going to be looking at subject matter like this, not because I want to spread conspiracy theories, but because I want to actually take a subject and find out what the real facts are surrounding it, and then try to get closer to the truth and determine whether it's true or not. Is it just a conspiracy or is it a true spiracy? So this is exactly the kind of conversation we'll be having on that show.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
That sounds good. Well,
back to the pyramids. There's only one thing that bothers me about that is there's pyramids in Mexico and South America and in other parts of the world, and they're all kind of shaped the same way. And they were all built around the same time. And that's the one thing that kind of bothers me about who built the pyramids.
Well, it's funny because when did Columbus set sail and make it to North America? Okay, or the Vikings.
The Vikings were here before Columbus,
right? Or the Vikings in Newfoundland. Okay, way before the pyramids were made. Way before they came.
About 2,000 years ago, a little bit more than that. Just before Christ was born. So they're what, 4,000 or 5,000 years old?
That's way before my time.
I watch a lot of documentaries on TV, YouTube, because I cut off Netflix, no TV cable, no nothing. So the only thing I have on TV is YouTube. So I get a lot of education.
Yeah, I try and watch what I watch on the internet. Now it's all about gardening and crazy stuff like that, right?
Eh?
Yeah, but there's conspiracy theories with gardening too, right? People got different ways and techniques, and don't do it this way, don't do it that way, do it this way, do it that way. I've been growing for my whole life, and I'm a master at hydroponics, indoor and out. So, I want to get away from hydroponics and try organic, right, for the first time in my life. But if things don't start working out organically, I could shift right back into hydroponics, and I'll show you 10-foot tall tomato trees in my backyard.
Well, I went out with the good old-fashioned insecticide, and give my watermelon plant a good old drink around it because there's something eating its leaves.
Yeah. Try the peroxide in water. Works.
Yeah.
It works very well. Just don't overdo it. You don't want to burn the leaves or burn the roots, right? And it's 100% natural. Okay. Try the peroxide in water. It kills a lot of bugs.
Well, I think my insecticide did too.
It did. Okay, guys, I got to get back to work. I'm on somebody else's time, and my lunch is my 1 hour lunch is just about done. 3 minutes left.
Thank you,
All
sir.
right.
Talking to you face to face.
Yeah.
You too, Allison. Alicia. I called you
Yeah.
Allison. Alicia. Rick. Nice
Thanks,
shirt.
Leo. See ya.
Donate. You'll get a shirt.
Yeah. Anybody that sends a $30 donation or more, I'll send you a t-shirt if you give me your address.
That's a deal.
Yeah. Okay.
I
All
want
right.
70. I want the other shirt.
Oh, you want the yeah, you can do that.
Yeah, I like the
polo
other
shirt. Yeah, those ones are real nice too.
Yeah.
They're a high-end polo shirt.
Yes.
So not
Yes.
like a
I got
cheapy
high
one.
taste
It's a
on
really
here,
nice
here,
one.
I'll budget.
Yeah. And Dragon, if you want to come on, you have to connect your camera and microphone. I see you in the back room, but your camera is not connected. So we cannot see you, sir. You got to get connected so we can put you on. And he just disappeared. Maybe he's trying to get it connected. I don't know. If you want to join the show, I just put the link in the chat again. Just click on the link and use your webcam, and you'll be live on the air with us, and we'll see your bright, smiling face tonight. We're just trying. This is a little different.
Once.
Oh, I can put a whole bunch of people on here. I don't know what the limit is. 10, 12, 15, 20.
Okay.
Yeah, and I have another way to put people on too. If this doesn't work using this particular system, I've got another system we could use to put even more on. But no, 2 or 3 people max at one time, I think, is enough. Otherwise, it's just going to get a little bit confusing, I think.
Well, that's why I was wondering, should I get off to let somebody else get on?
Well, nobody else in the queue right now, Alicia. People sometimes are a little camera shy, so I wasn't sure if this idea would work tonight to have people sign on this way rather than phone. But I think this is actually better if people are willing to step up and just turn on their phone or use their webcam to join the program this way. It's video and it's more personal, I think,
I find it a lot easier to talk to you this way than over the phone.
Yeah. And here's Morgan.
Ah, yes.
Hello, sir.
Hello, sir, to you as well.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Possibly someone who actually cares, it says underneath. Well, what would you like to discuss this evening?
Well, I'm going to pinpoint on the food issue, seeing as we live in Chatham, Kent, and I, having worked for the Food Grains Bank with my music, earning money for the farmers, because around here, just like we have, or anywhere they have tractor pulls or anything that some people might sneer to, or people who do not understand farmers are geniuses, and the number one job on this planet, next to just being a man following like the spirit each day, seeing the sun getting up and giving its light and saying, you know what? I was given my life by the same energy, spirit that makes that sun and makes newborn babies. I think I'm going to help it because that's what I see. It, the one who made me, and the one who's giving. And you can see where things get extreme, like closer to the equator, it gets hot. You move further away and it gets colder. Therefore, we are guided to the in-between by sense, by where it is best to raise the babies, because we're listening to the truth and to the mothers who love the most. So with our hearts guiding us, We see that we live where there's food in Chatham, Kent. You can't walk 5 minutes in one direction without running into the bounty of our prime land, which means we're not about to change its designation. There's rural, there's commercial land. We have farmland here, which must be used for prime land. They were wanting to make it more aesthetic along the highway and going to take away some of the farmers' actual land in order to do that. And when I looked at how much land, I said, they wanted to bring me to council because I said, this idea is novel, not necessary. And that's prime land. There's a reason why we don't have a designation that says, oh, you can change that to be commercial, or it can be something, because it's human, not just right. We're human beings and we eat food. That's how come we have a law in place that says you cannot change to residential. You cannot change to commercial. This land is for growing food that the people eat. So we do that here. So whatever they're going to affect, because we grow also food for China, people come down in the helicopter to check out the quality of our soy. They're going to have to affect here, or whatever's going to be done when you want to control people. I'm just saying, I guess I just want people paying attention first to somewhere where we have it working right now. Like we have the farm. They have to stop production. And that's what we hear, the one candidate and the others, as we've seen in other places. But let's stick to here. I believe that candidate is with Democratic, the one, John Kerry, was it? Or
yes, that's right. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
stating that people are going to have to possibly get used to being hungry.
Yes. That was within the last week, I believe he made that statement.
So my point when I began talking was that I wanted to get it all the way around to was the sun and the farmers are all here and their son, and we're ready to plant and we're ready. Nothing's stopping us. We know what our job is. It's those who understand being a farmer is a good thing. It's a good thing to be one. It's an obedient thing to be. And it's meaning there's a pride, not a bad kind of pride. Not that pride's like, I understand there's bad pride, but then there's the good pride. And with the good pride means you're standing on your feet, you're providing for your wife and your children, and you have enough to share with others when they need, so that there is actually no need because you've learned to share the bounty that you have. So we're living in bounty. For us to have need, they're going to have to affect that. That's what I'm stating. And if we keep our eyes open and look to see how are they going to do that and affect that, we will be able to take that microcosm from here and just apply it logically to the whole. Now, did I solve anything? No. I'm just putting a view on where we are, what our role is, the fact that we are the richest people to a certain extent with this fresh water and all this food. And like for a pastime with tractor pulls, those are taking like Olympic sized vehicles that we use for gathering up the food and smashing them together for fun. Like we take our robots, so instead of military equipment, like we actually have
tractor pulls isn't destroying tractors.
Well, I mean, we have demolition derbies usually at the end in the evenings. We usually have a type of track things where we smash the vehicles and old farm vehicles together once they can't even be fixed anymore. Usually just get them because people enjoy that and they'll buy tickets. So it's a way to get some more back into the economy.
So it's like a demolition derby.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, the demolition derbies. We like having those usually at the weekends that we have the whatever.
Well, we've got other people in the queue here, so maybe I can just get you to kind of wrap up your thoughts.
Yeah, just saying that we grow the food here. If they're going to affect that and place the people here in any type of need, they're going to have to do it manually. they're going to have to do it manually because there's enough food here for all. So like when they're going to say, oh, these prices here cost this much because we've regulated it everywhere, even though we can see around us and there's the food everywhere, yet they want us to pay what they're paying in Malaysia, what they're paying here, what they're paying here, what they're paying here, because they're going to want to do that to the whole place, the whole planet. And I'm just saying that God is good and he gives us the sun and he gives us the food. Therefore, the war is about people trying to stop people from doing what they know is right. Stopping good farmers from planting. That's my point. Stopping good people from doing good jobs. Making it harder for them to do what is the most natural thing in the world. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Morgan. And you're welcome to stay if you want. But Dragon, you've been waiting patiently. You were next in the queue, actually. So welcome back, sir. What do you want to talk about?
Yes, sir.
Hi, Dragon.
Well, actually, yes. Actually, the other day you were speaking about Third World War, and my friend Alice, how are you tonight? Yeah, World War III. How does that work? Well, look, I will say it. Okay, there's a few things you need to understand that what brings a war, or actually how you can call it a world war. First, you need two teams. Okay. First, it started with Ukraine against Russia, right? And now we got NATO on one side, and we got other teams for Russia, like Belarus, for example, right? So this is one example. Second thing, we need infrastructure and strategic target to be hit, which is a thing already done. You got civil injuries. You got also the economic sanctions. And lastly, you got the government propaganda going on. So this is what is the definition of a world war, in my view.
Well, I think that's what we're in.
Yep.
Third World War.
Yep.
How
I
about
mean,
you,
we all
Gina? What's
see
on your mind?
those descriptions.
What's on your mind, Gina?
Hi, everyone. Well, basically, I mean, as far as World War III, I agree with Dragon. I think that we are in World War III. And as far as Morgan goes, I also agree with him as far as it goes with the farming as well. I don't think we've chatted it, but I'm one of the moderators on YouTube. And Alice, we've probably chatted once or twice. But I really do think that there's a lot of strange things going on. I think that as far as the alien stuff goes, I've got some beliefs that maybe are a little bit off the wall on what I think's going to happen. Some people agree with me, and other people think I'm just nuts. I think that there's going to be a fake attack that's going to come, and they're going to say it was the aliens, and they're going to put us into a panic. That's what I think could very well possibly happen here. And I think that
so you think that there's going to be a fake attack, and they're going to say it's alien, so it's like a false flag where the government or whatever
or
attacks
someone,
us?
whoever, somebody in the, because see, the thing is they keep, I mean, this alien thing has been, has been kind of growing and growing and growing and growing and growing. And now they're releasing things that supposedly is supposed to be private or information that nobody's supposed to hear. Now, all of a sudden, all of this is getting all leaked all at the same time. There's something coming. There's something coming around that. Now, that's just my own personal opinion, but I really do think that, why else would they be releasing and allowing all of these things to happen? Why else would they be allowing these people to talk? Why else would they be allowing any of this? It's the same as RFK and Trudeau or Trump. I think that this was also planned as well. I think that they've got this opposition going on, and I think that the biggest fight is going to be between those two. I believe that I think that both of them have their good points, and both of them have some things that aren't so great. But I think we're all human beings, and that there needs to be some some allowance there for that. However, I think that both parties would probably do well, either one who won. I think that, but I think that, the Democrats are going to definitely, try to, close Trump down, because that's just kind of how that whole thing works. So there's a lot of things going on in the world, and I think that this is just all part of the chaos and mayhem that whoever it is, that the powers that are are controlling this. I mean, just like what's going on with the WHO treaty and all of that stuff. There's something brewing. There's just too many bad things. There's just too many bad things in all different areas. It's not just one area, it's in all areas. So they're like trying to create fear here, and they're trying to create fear here, and they're trying to create division here, and they're trying to, and it just seems to be getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. I mean, just like when Biden won the last election. Thank you, Dragon. Biden won the last election. I'm like, he can't even hardly walk. Why would anybody be voting on this guy? I was a registered carrier for 20 years. I took care of people like him. He was, in my opinion, incompetent then, which in my opinion was he was just the face behind the puppets who were actually controlling everything.
Yeah, totally agree. Yeah.
So you see, I think that there's a whole other picture that people aren't seeing, just like the fear with the food, just like, like they're just, I mean, in Canada, we have enough food to feed Canadians. We have enough cattle to feed Canadians. If they were to stop the shipping all around the world, we still have enough food to feed us here. And they're trying to make the people afraid of that as well. It's making me sick. I'm sitting here and I'm looking at all of these different things, all of these different areas. They're trying to attack our security. I mean, most, especially women, need to feel secure. That is one of the biggest things that women need. And they're attacking our families, and they're attacking our food. That and war. Come on. There's so much going on right now. There's something is going to happen. There has to be some sort of something. And I don't know, exactly what it's going to be, but I know that it's going to be big, and it's going to be a massive fear attack to try to get people to panic about everything, because everybody's got their worries. Moms are worried about feeding their kids. Kids don't think that there's a future. Like it doesn't matter what generation you talk to. They've all got these fears.
Well,
right?
I got something to tell you too about fears. You know how they're saying that the cows, they got to put diapers on and stuff because they're farting and going it?
Yes.
Well, I got thinking about that the other day. In the wintertime, I keep my 40 head of cattle in the barn, closed up, and I work in there with them. And all of a sudden, it just dawned on me, I've never ever heard them farting. If 40 head of cattle farted in a closed-in barn, the methanol would put me unconscious, would it not?
Well,
did you say menthol? You're talking about menthol cow farts? Now there's something
methane
I've never experienced before. The aroma is killing me, but I kind of like it.
That's what I'm saying to you. Cows bloat, okay? And the reason the bloat can kill them is because they can't pass.
We can't hear you. We have low audio there, Alicia. You got to get closer to your mic or something.
Well, that's what I mean. So that's a made up story. Cows do not fart.
You mean
because
you mean
if they did-
that they fart, or that is it the menthol cow farts that is the
Come on now, Rick.
That's what's killing the atmosphere.
it's almost like it's very similar to menthol cigarettes, right? They taste great, but they'll kill you.
Well, we've got this thing.
I've been going around asking farmers if when they're in the barn working and milking the cows, I said, have you ever heard of the cows farting? And they've all got thinking, and the answer's no. And the
Don't they
reason
fart
is,
when they poop? Like that's what I understand is that when they're pooping is when the gas is released. That's my understanding of when they're releasing gas.
Well, it's very rarely. It's no more than.
Are you trying to tell me, Alicia, that cows don't fart?
They have 4 stomachs. They ferment all their food. They have to fart.
There's
They
only one
don't.
creature.
They
There's
both.
only one.
It comes
There's
out-
only
it
one
comes out
creature
their
on
mouth.
the earth, and one mammal that does not fart, and that is a woman. Okay. Well, with rare exceptions, and when they do, it's silent.
Yep.
But deadly.
Yep. And it wasn't me.
Oh, mine aren't silent.
My lady Rumi, when she farts, she always fart in style.
That's right. I mean, come on.
Enough to kill all the cows in the world.
Cows have 4 stomachs. They ferment their food.
That's right.
That fermentation creates gas. The gas must come out or the cow would
when they're
explode.
chewing,
Whether it comes out its
burps.
mouth or its
It
butt,
burps.
it has to come out.
And it comes out through the mouth by burping.
It does. They have 4 stomachs.
Well, you know what it is, Gina. It's
Rick is having a good time.
That's how cows fly. They don't fart. They just get.
That doesn't get to the moon.
They
Oh,
just
now we
expand,
know.
and they just start to rise.
You solved that.
Quite the dainty dish.
And therein lies the explanation to unidentified flying objects.
Now we know. We now know all the facts that we need to know. Cows don't fart; they fly. And
Pigs fly. Pigs fly. Cows just jump over the moon.
And it's not a conspiracy theory.
I'm sorry. I forgot about that. Yeah, it's all good. Yeah, no, actually, I'm kind of becoming quite the expertise on biodigesters. I'm actually going to be doing some podcasts and stuff with a fellow who has a permaculture farm in Quebec, and I'm probably going to be moving there by the looks of things. And we're going to build a digester. We're going to build several different things, and we're going to be doing it on podcasts and all sorts of things. So there's some really great things that are going to be coming. I'm moving a long ways away. I'm in BC and going all the way to Quebec.
Wow.
But it's going to definitely be a different life, but I'm really, really looking forward to, what's to come. But I see that Isabel has joined us.
Yes.
Hello, Isabel. Welcome back.
I will be there in about 2 seconds. I'm trying to put my code in.
All right.
I'm a little slow. Here we
So,
go.
yes,
Where am I? Where do I go now? I'm at StreamYard.
Yeah, you're in. You're on the
You're
show
in.
right now. You're live.
Yeah, we see you.
Where do I go back to see you guys? Back to StreamYard?
You can't see us?
Oh, here I am. I'm old. Give me a break.
You sound fine.
It's all good. It's all good.
So, what are you?
I'm
Are you?
listening to this UFO crap? Okay, and they posted it on the NASA website.
Yep.
What was to come, what they were laid out for us as far as a plan goes, and the holographics that are in the sky. So if you want to believe in UFOs, it's probably those idiots in NASA that are doing it.
See, there you go.
Because the only UFOs I see are the ones in Parliament.
Well said. Well said. Woohoo!
That's where the aliens
And also
are.
the balloons. Don't forget the balloons.
Well, they should have my balloons. At least my balloons, I can make them.
Or are you filling them with methane gas?
No.
Ah, dang!
Just oxygen, old-fashioned oxygen.
Oh, wow. Well, that's not important, is it now?
Oh, my.
Well, if it's come from the lungs, actually, technically, it's CO2. But yeah, okay, it works.
There you go.
Technically.
Technically.
Just a bunch of hot air, dang it. Just a bunch of hot air.
Magnifique CO2.
Hey, we're going to get taxed for that, so we better be careful.
Yeah, this is true, right? We're going to get taxed every time we fart. That's why they want cameras and speakers in all our houses. That's what they're talking about doing in the States. That's what I heard the other day anyways. I just what? You can't be serious. I think Redacted was talking about that.
Of course. And you know what I found? I heard today, Newsom in California, they want to try and pass a law. And I thought, you got to be joking me. They want to pass a law that if your child decides that it defines itself as a certain thing and you don't agree with that, they want to pass a law that you are creating child abuse. So they want to come in and remove your children.
Well, that's happening in other jurisdictions. And in fact, here in Ontario, I believe that if a child, that the teachers are not supposed to tell the parents.
Yeah.
So that's a real thing here now.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's been going on for a long time.
If your child says at home, I identify as a cat, and you don't acknowledge that, and the child goes to school and says, my parent won't let me be a cat, they can call CAS and have your child removed.
Yeah, and the teacher fired for not meowing at them when they respond to them. That's right. I read the article the other day. The teacher was fired for not acknowledging the cat the child had chosen to identify as.
And I'll put the kitty litter bag down on the floor.
That's right.
This is
right. You want to play this game? Here you go.
Yeah.
Well, I have two dogs. One is a male. He's neutered.
Just a
I
point.
have a female. She's spayed. So what do I call her? A she-he? And he's a he-she? No, they're a male and a female. I'm sorry.
That's right. The male's been fixed.
Just like women after a certain age. I'm not.
Well, I had a 13-year-old.
I mean, come on.
You know what's frustrating? The frustration is I get a 13-year-old telling me, at school, the kids, bullying me by saying, you can do maid. How is that normal when other kids tell you that you should go maid? That's frustrating.
No. I think taking all the kids out of school and building a commune like we had in the 60s where everybody lived together and you raise your kids in the commune away from all of this crap.
Yep. I think that's probably the best way to raise your kids nowadays, because at least you've got some say on what's going on in your families. You don't know what's happening in those schools. My daughter's 35 years old and I fought, all this, this stuff that, this library time back then. And I couldn't understand why it was going on, because we used to spend a lot of time at the library because I always encouraged my daughter, to learn, right? And the library's got all sorts of great things there. And so we used to utilize it all the time. But one day I decided that I found out about this thing going on, and I'm like, what is this? And why are they doing this? And, and back then it was, to promote inclusion of all people. And I'm like, okay, but then I went and because I couldn't judge until I seen for myself.
Yeah.
And what I did was I went and I watched it, and I walked out of there. I watched the whole thing because I knew that I needed to, because I couldn't just judge it on 10 minutes because that's not right. You know, to me, it's like I needed to see the whole thing and understand the entire concept and the vibe and the energy in the room and all of that stuff in order for me to understand the entire story. And after I left there, I never took my daughter back to the library.
It used to be a safe haven.
Yeah. My daughter was no longer allowed to be there. Like she used to. I used to allow her to be there unattended because there was, you know, we signed up for this group thingy and all these different things. But when I found out and I seen what they were doing there, I removed my daughter, and we did not participate in those sorts of things because I felt that that was not appropriate for my daughter. I didn't think it was appropriate for me. And I felt that that should be kept in adult entertainment. So that's just my thinking, and I could be wrong. Other people obviously agree with me, maybe not here, but there are people that do disagree, and they think that that's not that it's not inappropriate. And you know what? I can't tell them that, you know, maybe their perspective, in my opinion, may be inappropriate. However, it's their perspective, and whether right, wrong, or indifferent, we have to love them and accept them for who they are. Maybe we need to educate. Maybe we need to find out where their understanding of, you know, things are. Maybe we can, you know, love on them. Maybe we can embrace them. I have, you know, family members that are, you know, of a gay nature, and I have never judged him. I have always loved him and accepted him for who he is, and so I've always been part of that. And I was part of, you know, everything when they first started out with this pride thing. I was all in on it until I found out that they wanted to change the laws and allow men in women's bathrooms. I'm a victim of child abuse, and that was just something that I felt was just gone way, way too far and totally inappropriate. Then when I found out that they were allowing them in the women's change rooms, I just about vomited on the floor. And believe that they would allow this, but I also understand that those people who are doing that, and the majority of them, in my opinion, I think they have some sort of, you know, fetish or something going on that's got them to that place. I could be wrong. Some people would disagree. Some people will agree. But the reality is that's my opinion. I don't hate them. I love everybody. However, I think that it's gone too far when you are endangering women and children in public spaces. I mean, if I had, you know, my grandkids with me, I would be going into the bathroom with my grandchildren. It wouldn't matter how old they are. Like even now, my grandson, he's 13. I would go into the man's bathroom if there's still such thing as a man's bathroom. I would go in there and I would stand there with my granddaughter, and we would wait for him coming out of that bathroom, because I don't trust this. This has gone
too far.
Oh,
But
it's
if
documented.
You
There's been kids.
if you
that have
listen
been
to the original
in the
LGBTQ without the pluses,
right?
And I've heard them do videos, and they're saying this is so much in their face. They don't want to be in the highlight.
I know they don't. I know they don't. They're not part of this. They're not at all part of this. They've been kind of hijacked by the rest of them. This pride thing came in and hijacked the gays, lesbians, and trans. And the thing is the majority of people don't understand that. They think that they're all the same. They're not.
They're not.
I
They
think that one.
You've got transvestites who want to dress up and play girly, who are pushing this and following the agenda for the pedophiles. And then you've got the other guys on the other side are going, whoa, 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 we don't want to be in the highlight. We're fine where we are.
Yeah.
Bingo.
You know, and because I do have, my daughter is bisexual and she's happy, and I'm great and I'm thankful for that she's found somebody. And I was like you, all in, you know, supportive and everything. But this has gone so far to the bizarre. Yeah. And he's pushing it, but now he's going to have the Muslim group who he was backing before. They're not going to follow him because now they're against all this stuff that's going on. We saw that in Ottawa.
Yep.
He pushed them to the front to get their votes.
In the Sharia is against homosexuality and those kind of sexual attractions. So.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
If you talk to other people from other countries, they go, homosexuality, what's that? Like they don't, some people like in Africa and stuff like that, they have no idea. Like, it's just like, what?
So listen, guys, it's 9:17 p.m. So let's just go once around. Start with you, Alicia. We'll just get some final thoughts from everybody before we wrap up for the evening.
What if Paul Bernardo decides that he wants to be a woman?
Excellent.
I think that there would probably be a lot of people who would line up with the scalpel or a knife to amputate a certain part of his anatomy.
Bob it.
Probably a long list of volunteers. How about you, Morgan? What would you like to wrap up with tonight?
Well, I'd like to say that I respect Dr. Peterson's, Jordan Peterson's words on this, which is the men dress up like the women to get a sexual kick,
right?
A tingle, if you will, and that's a fact. That's the reason, and that has absolutely. I don't mind if a man who has a different sexual identity or anything. If someone comes up and says, "I'd like to volunteer to read the library to kids," right on, sir. Mm-hmm. It's like my boyfriend would like to be there with me. Right on. Does he need a library card to be there with you? Why? Because that's a really noble thing to do, sir. And but the thing is that there's a sexual element here.
Yes.
That is absolutely
that's the
sexual.
problem.
It's medically definable and has been defined by a medical professional. I'm not sure if he still has a license in Canada, but I think enough people understand that Dr. Peterson is a professional to appreciate when he says this is of a sexual nature.
Yes.
And therefore making it some sort of a political, inclusive political point, I think is as absurd as allowing it to happen in the first place, especially once it's out that people understand what is going on psychologically inside the head of the loved human being, brother and sister, father, uncle of ours.
That's right. That's right.
Over to you, Dragon. Final thoughts for tonight.
Final thought for tonight will be, well, keep your eyes open. Always keep your heads open also, and minds. Keep on watching Maverick, my good friend, because, you know, he's the truth and our saint keeper. I'm going to raise my drink to that. And to you, Gina, I will wish you a good night, because actually she's speaking the truth. She got some good friend around. Better listen to what she does, because her podcast going to be amazing. I know that, because I know her personally. So on that, guys, I will raise my my glasses to you. So have a good night.
All right. Thank you, Dragon. And Isabel, over to you.
I think this is awesome. It is so much nicer to see people's faces and reactions rather than on the phone. I don't know which one is more expensive for you, Rick, but I watch you every night and without fail. And I think this is a great idea.
I really agree. Do. This has been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Gina, you're
and also
so
thank you for the good platform.
Well, thank you, Dragon. Thanks for the for the confidence. And Gina, you're always a ray of sunshine. So is Sandy. Sandy is always just, well, not always lately. She's been upset about a few things, but generally she just makes me smile, and she's a little ray of sunshine. And Gina, you always have uplifting words for us. So that's why I think it's appropriate to finish with you tonight. Wrap it up for us. Take us home.
All right. Well, first of all, I want to say thank you to the Maverick family for watching and joining us. I also want to say thank you to you guys who have all hit the like button and the ones who donate on a regular basis. I know that this show wouldn't be able to be on the line if it wasn't for you guys who do donate. And I really want to say thank you to everybody who does donate to this show. I think that this show has some great things that are coming for it. I really love this, Rick. I think that this is fantastic, a fantastic idea. I think that, it also allows us to be able to put faces. So next time I'm in chat, I know what Morgan looks like.
Yeah.
Hi, Morgan, hi, Alicia, right? Hi, Isabel, so I think that it kind of helps bring it back to family. And that's what, in creating that, Rick, once again, you have started something here that I think is going to be absolutely amazing. And I'm really looking forward to the podcasts on my new platform that I have joined on with the permaculture program. And I'm really excited to share that with the Maverick family. And the biodigesters, the biofuel, and everything that's coming, and the biochar, and to be able to help a lot of people, I believe. And we're going to do it. We're going to do it in style. It's going to definitely be different. It's just because, I'm involved with it. It has to be. And so I'm really looking forward to what's to come now. So this is on that note. Thanks, everybody. Have a great night, and bless all of you.
Thank you, Gina. And my final thought for the night is seagulls were bad enough. Keep your eyes on the sky and watch out for those flying cows. Catch you tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern time on the flip side.
Everyone.
Ciao.
Love you all. Good night.
Good night, all.
This has been a Maverick Multimedia production.